Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the top 8 of the Oasis Games Pauper Invitational Tournament. I'm Brandon, your host, and Sean is your other host.
Hey,
your,
everybody.
your commentary host.
I want to let them know we're ready. We're ready in here. Hope that's the right place.
Yep. So we're going to be bringing you the top 8 action. All right, and so we've got our players.
Let's just switch over there right now.
Oh, we should have gotten those deck lists back. I'm going to be right back. Gosh. Should have thought of that before we started. Asking if they still even have those. And to send us the player name.
Okay, and we do have the names.
Yeah, I asked him to send it to it. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. It's been a long day for everyone, but we're here and we're ready to talk Pauper. So it's Zoo versus Black White.
Yeah, we've got Zach Kirby with the green sleeves and Christine Boyd with the red sleeves on the left.
Yeah, and she's at 22, not 31.
Man, that Orzhov deck just ends up at like 30-something life a lot of the time.
Okay.
And it doesn't even have to try that hard.
This is cool technology that we saw last week. So turn 2, Presence of Nylea means that Zach just has domain.
Yeah.
Like he's got all the basic land types now. This time around, it looked like his creature got killed. It looked like he played a Curd Ape, and that got killed.
I didn't see what the removal spell was.
It was a dead weight.
It was a dead weight? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a Knight's Whisper that they lost 2 life, drew 2 cards with. It's like a pseudo Sign in Blood that you can pay a generic mana into.
Easier to cast.
This is a Duress, and it sees...
There's a Lightning Bolt, Kasali Pride Mage, and Rancor is what gets put into the graveyard. And it looks like a couple lands. So not too much action on Zach's side.
Oh, pizza!
Thank you. Okay. Oh, so a lot of things have happened. So Cycling Ash Barrens, we got distracted by our pizza.
There's a Burning Tree Emissary. You got a Kasali Pride Mage?
Yep. Yeah, Kasali Pride Mage. And Christina, for her draw set, picks up a Orzhov Basilica.
I don't know why I just slipped my mind. Is it Pride Mate or Pride Mage?
I think it's Pride Mate.
Okay. See. And with not very many threats left in the Zoo player's hand. Oh, there's an Echoing Decay.
Yeah, takes out the Pride Mate. Orzhov Basilica puts a swamp back in Christina's hand and passes the turn to Zach, who draws. Looked like he picked up the Evolving Wilds and just played it right away. But yeah, I think that this is a board's position that definitely favors Christina.
Yeah, she just needs to make land drops.
Yeah, and she's going to thanks to,
Oh.
well, this Read the Bones, but also the Orzhov Basilica means that she's got one more land drop. And Zach just, like, doesn't have anything.
That's like one of those spells that, like, oh, she gets both of the cards. She wants both of those cards. So that's like one of those spells where, given the board state, and then she knows what's in his hand, it's almost like, well, this game seems kind of over right now,
Mm-hmm.
because now she's just way ahead. She has the cards she wants, and she just has to deal with some pretty basic stuff on the other side. It's just, yeah, and she's not hurting on life.
Definitely not. 16 is a really healthy life total. She's got a...
Just eat your pizza, and then I'll eat a piece after it.
Oh,
You want the
okay.
bigger piece? Then I want the bigger piece.
Okay.
I just don't want to mess up their nice table here.
No,
Like,
fair.
I don't want to risk it. Okay. Looked away for a second, and I don't think anything happened. I don't think that's another Read the Bones or anything, and nothing happened on the other side.
No, Christina just got attacked for 2, and it just looks like Zach is flooding out quite a bit.
Yeah, obviously an aggro player doesn't want this many lands.
Mm-hmm.
So now she's only taking one a turn effectively, and she's gaining one a turn now.
Yeah,
Thanks
make
to this
that
Chainer's
none a
Edict.
turn.
She has a Chainer's Edict in the yard, so the next threat is just going to be destroyed. So that is the, what was it, gamble or not gamble, but discard your hand, draw 2 cards at instant speed.
Yeah, it's the card that we were questioning, or were curious about last week.
And there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with that card.
Dangerous Wager.
Dangerous Wager. You can end step it. You can, before your draw step, do it, and then end up with 3 cards in your hand. Like, obviously there's nothing that they cared about in their hand, so that's a really good just 2 mana divination.
Not just, we're on the burn you plan, so a bunch of burn just going straight to Christina's face drops her down to 4.
Yeah. So she's almost out of burn range already. She needs to gain 1 life to outlive a Tribal Flames that obviously...
Well, Tribal Flames is 5 damage.
Right. So, okay, gains 1. Like,
Oh, well,
She's
she
gonna,
was at
like,
4.
right.
Oh.
I knew that she was going to do the Pristine Talisman.
Okay.
And so she needed to gain 1 additional. And she's got that. So now I think he's got nothing in his hand.
Yeah.
And he needs to do 6 damage. And, oh.
Another land. Yeah, and now I think that this game has safely been pulled out of Zachary's hands. And the Kybera Crossroads getting returned back to Christine's hand. That's another 2 life.
Yeah.
So the burn you plan, I think, is out.
So
This does represent a lot of damage. So
that's straight up 5 damage, and he goes and looks for a basic land.
This is the window. Christine can gain 4 life this turn, putting her up to 5. She'll play the Kybera Crossroads,
Oh.
and then Zach has to... Oh, no,
She's
at
back
7.
up to 7.
Yeah, never mind. She's back up to 7. I'm an idiot. I didn't realize that she was...
You know, one interesting thing, since Pristine Talisman is a mana ability, you can't respond to the life gain. Yeah. There's a Matka Rioters. This is probably just gonna
Eat the edict that's in the graveyard.
exactly.
Yeah. Do you think that there's like any reason to just hold the Matka Rioters until a turn when you can maybe draw something? Or do you just want to get the edict out of the graveyard? Like, it's probably just inconsequential. Like, if you don't play it, Christine's just going to find more answers down the road anyway.
Well, she could also be running lots of Castigates, and you definitely don't want that. I think you're just dropping everything off the top of your library.
There's 5 more damage.
There's another exploding borders. It feels like she's just like so close, like just within range.
Yeah. But she's going to untap here and go back to 6. I mean, Zachary's getting closer, you know? Like, his burn spells do deal a lot of damage.
But there's less and less in the deck because he keeps drawing them.
Right.
So I think he has to do with this with creatures. And, like, what do you think is in her hand besides, like...
Just a boatload of removal.
So she just played his greatest win con. She played a Palace Sentinel, so now she's the Monarch, and she's going to deck twice as fast as him. But there's also no way that he's going to be able to keep up with those cards.
Yeah.
And he doesn't run any haste creatures, so it's not like he's going to randomly become the Monarch. So there's a Duress, reveals an Ash Barrens.
Yeah. So there is still a lot of burn left in the deck, though. There are 3 Tribal Flames, 2 Exploding Borders, and 3 Lightning Bolts left.
I didn't know that they were on 4 Exploding Borders.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of burn left in the deck. I mean, Zach's just got to, like... I mean, he's got to draw... He's just got to rip them, one after the other. He doesn't really have much time left to stumble. Like, if this draw step is a dud, which it was another Nylea's Presence, for the planes in his hand...
Well, that's a redraw.
I guess that's fair. That's a redraw. There's a Kurt 8. That doesn't really do it.
No.
And now Christine is at 8, gonna go to 10. And I think now we're at the point where it's probably not feasible. I don't know. He's gonna have to just draw, like, he's just gotta have tribal flames on top. Multiple burn spells in a row.
Man, look at all those pristine talismans.
Yeah. It looks like Christine forgot to gain the life off of the 3rd talisman when she tapped it.
Doesn't need it.
She probably needs it. So if he untaps here and it's a 5 damage burn spell. Oh, there she goes. She got it. All right. Because if Zachary untaps and finds 5 damage on the top of the library, Christine's at 5. So, like, the Zachary's out is having 3 5 damage burn spells on the top of his library. He can race these 3 pristine talismans.
Does that even work? Because she's getting 3 a turn. She'll be at in 2 turns.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It doesn't work. I don't think he can win. Just scoop. Go to the next game.
I do this sometimes. I'm like, I'm here to play Magic.
Sure. And there's no time limit. This is a top 8 rounds, so there's no time limit set on the rounds. So there's really no reason to concede a game until you're dead.
Life totals are now even. And there's a Guardian of the Guild Pact in play. So a Pestilence could win this pretty quick. There's a Pestilence.
Yep.
I think he's not going to have to scoop.
No, he's probably just dead in a couple turns.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, he's dead. He's on a 2-turn clock. Okay, well, there's another Tribal Flames. So I guess that is one thing to be careful about with the Pestilence, is making sure that her life total doesn't go low enough that Zach can just draw another Tribal Flames to burn her out.
Right, she just doesn't have to. She just needs to not be greedy.
Sure, yeah.
And that's not going to be that hard.
And that's another Guardian of the Guild Pact, so... Lightning Bolt off the top.
Undo your Lightning Bolt.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, and now it's just lethal because she can attack for 6 and then Pestilence for 6.
I do think it's funny that they went and made sure that they changed the life totals to go down 3 and then up 3. Any thoughts on sideboarding?
Yeah, let's look back at the sideboard. So for Zachary, we've got 3 Return to Nature, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Spider Silk Armor, the 2 Cold Water Snappers.
I don't think those are fantastic here, but yeah, I just don't think they're fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, they dodge a lot of the removal in this black-white deck just on its body alone. The hexproof doesn't matter, and the one removal spell that gets it is the Edict, and the hexproof doesn't matter there either.
I imagine for such an expensive spell, if it gets blocked by Guardian of the Guild Pact, and then you said Edicts, and then Pestilence, all of those are just like, that's not going to be worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we've got 2 Kervix Torch, 2 Electrickery, and 2 Mystic Familiar.
What was Mystic Familiar again?
I don't remember. It was protection from black, I think.
Okay, I'm just going to double check that real quick.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was a creature with protection from black. Just from when we had Zachary in here last week doing his winner's interview. Okay, and then out of Christine's sideboard, 2 Circle Protection Blue, 1 Circle of Protection Black, 2 Castigates, 2 Nihil Spellbomb, 3 Fragmentize, 2 Circle of Protection Red, 2 Standard Bearer, and 1 Unmake.
The Circle of Protection Reds are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was texting, so did you say that the other player is bringing in Return to Natures?
I didn't say anything about Return to Natures, but I imagine they're coming in.
Yeah, okay. And then Circle Protection Reds.
Do you want like the Unmake, just to have more removal, or is that just too clunky?
Taking out 2 cards.
Standard Bearer is also interesting, because we know Zachary has Rancor in his deck, and all that burn. Like, it means it eats a burn spell. But I don't know how important that is. There's nowhere else for the burn to go except for Christine's Face, so maybe just having 2 mana to trade with a burn spell out of Zachary is fine. I don't know if it's necessarily better than anything else in the deck, though. I don't know, maybe you don't want like the Night's Whispers as much. I'd imagine you especially don't want the Read the Bones, the 2 Read the Bones very much.
I was thinking about the things that kill 2 toughness creatures, like the Deadweight and the Evankar's Justice.
Just because there's a lot of 3 toughness creatures in Zachary's deck.
Yeah, but they're not completely dead, so I think you go down a number.
Yeah, so they kill Curd Apes. They're better on the play, obviously, because they'll kill Wild Nacatls every time when you're on the play. Same with Curd Ape. And then they also kill the Burning Tree Emissaries, but I guess they kill Kasali Pride Mages. So you've got the 4 Pride Mages, the 4 Burning Tree Emissaries, the 4 Wild Nacatls, the 4 Curd Apes as potential targets.
Okay, so I think like shaving a reasonable number, like 1 of those, and then cutting down on the Read the Bones, just for a couple of Circle of Protections, and then I'm not really psyched about anything else in that sideboard. Okay, so
Evolving
players
Wilds
have kept their 7s, and they're into it.
Yeah, so Evolving Wilds starts things off for Zachary, and then Basic Swamp for Christine.
I'm just looking at the stick familiar. What the heck? Colorless and a white. It is a 1/2 bird with flying, and it has Threshold. It gets +1/+1 and protection from black if you have Threshold.
Okay. I knew it had something to do with protection from black. So the Mystic Familiars have probably come in.
That's a weird thing because I know playing creatures with protection from black against this deck is a way for your opponent to just keep Pestilence in play forever.
Sure. I guess that makes sense.
But they're still good in a way. So it's
Yeah.
so here's a Castigate. We get to see what's going on here.
2 Lightning Bolts. I think that's a Mystic Familiar and a Rancor.
There's some glare on there.
Yeah, we can't tell for sure what the 4th card is. Oh, it's Mountain. Sorry. Mountain, Rancor, Lightning Bolt, and another card.
Okay, and she takes the
Rancor.
Rancor.
So there's that Mountain. In for 3. Ooh, Matka Riders.
This is just this is a 3/3 right now.
Yeah.
That is a 3-mana 3/3.
I think it's a 4/4 when it attacks.
That's true.
Because
No,
it
no,
has...
no, it's not.
Oof. Oof. Now it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, because it's dead.
Ugh. This feels like a rough matchup for Zachary. Whoa, Zachary has Naya, just natural Naya. Nice. That Wild Mikados. Oh, wow. This just has got to be a bad matchup for Zachary. Like, this
Yeah.
has to be the matchup that he didn't want to see in the top 8.
That deck is so designed against aggro decks.
Okay, so there's still Read the Bones in Christine's deck.
I mean, she had 2.
Maybe just trim 1.
Yeah, that's what I would imagine.
So I guess like the Duresses probably aren't super great either, so that's a good target to pull out. Maybe like
sometimes
I don't know.
the Night's Whispers actually get cut over the Read the Bones
because Read the Bones just is slightly better.
Yeah, like you get more value off of your card.
That makes sense.
And like when you have time to play, you just have time to play it. Otherwise, you're going for the spells. So let's see if she can keep this up. Yep, there's other dead weight.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that the card that was in his hand was not a familiar, a Mystic Familiar. Otherwise, I feel like that's what Zach would have played the turn when all of his creatures just died.
It was probably one of those Kasali Primates.
So I think he's asking what the enchantment does. Like, does it come into play and then attach itself to see if there's a window to blow it up with Kasali Pride Mage? Unfortunately, that's not how the interaction works. Auras come into play right onto the creature.
Yeah.
And state-based actions will say before Zachary has priority that your Pride Mage has 0 toughness and dies.
But loses. That's weird. So now there's Monarch in play. Got Palace Sentinels for Christine.
Basic Island is the find for Zachary.
Gotta get that swamp.
But he got Basic Island.
I know, but now he just needs a swamp.
Oh, yeah, that's all that's left. So I wonder if he has Coldwater Snapper in his deck, if he prioritized finding an island. Or if it was just inconsequential, he didn't have any black or blue cards.
I think that's exactly
And so it just didn't matter what he got, so he just grabbed whatever.
I know talking to the player, he was pretty high on that card.
There's standard
but
card.
I don't think... Yeah, wow.
Called it. Dabbing on him. 8 a lightning bolt. Save Christine 3 life. Yeet! I guess I'm just the black-white master at this point.
Yeah.
This is the part where I think Christine has pulled away again. She 1-for-1 with all of Zachary's threats. Zachary was stuck on 3 lands for most of the game. Now he's on 5, so he's drawn a couple of lands off the top after Christine has just killed all of his threats. And she's just drawing 2 cards a turn with a relevant clock.
Yeah.
This just looks really rough for Zachary. Like, just gotta not be the pairing that you want. Ooh, is this a counterspell?
It just blows it up.
Oh, okay.
She
it was the
gains
back
a
to
life
nature.
off of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Or the return to nature. I saw him tap the blue mana, and I was just like, wait, is there a counterspell somewhere that we didn't see?
It's a Tribal Flames, I believe.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, must be. Now, what does Zachary have that can answer this protection from monocolored creature? Double blocking with Burning Tree Emissaries?
It has to be one of those creatures of like, well, I think you could put Rancor on any of your multicolor creatures. I think he's probably low or out of Kasali Pridemate.
Well, he's got no cards in hand. He just top decked something.
So he needs a miracle.
Yeah, and there's a Pestilence in play.
Behind on life by a lot.
Yeah, I think that this game is just probably it's over in 2 turns. I believe Christine has enough black mana. I have looks like a Circle of Protection red is what she just played. So this is going to drop Zach down to 10. She can deal a good amount of damage with that Pestilence. She has at least 4 black sources, so just going to play another Palace Sentinels.
Yep. Oh, there's a forest.
Wow,
That's
just really rough.
That's gotta be it.
This was just rough for Zachary all over, but I mean, still, congrats to him for making the top 8. That's still. I wish I had my phone. I wish my phone wasn't broken so I could look up what the prize structure was.
Is it single elimination?
Yeah, it's a top 8. So
okay.
This is the quarterfinals, round 1. I guess we can change this somehow. See if Sean can do something magic. So, it says day 1 Swiss rounds, but it's definitely not day 1 Swiss rounds.
I can get rid of it, or we can edit it.
Can we edit it? There we go. Quarterfinals.
You do it.
All right. Whoops.
That's
What?
QUA.
Oh, it's A. E. What did I write? Oh, E. Quarterfinals.
That's it. Do we want to do player interview? Oh, Brandon.
I'm just trying to center it. There. I did it. Yeah, player interview, or if there's another match ready, since these matches are not timed, it's just kind of like when the next round is ready, we can start it right away. So I'm going to step out for a minute and figure out what we're going to do. See if they're ready for the next round to just start. And I think we'll just start the semifinals as soon as we can.
Okay, I'm going to go to be right back mode.
That's fair. Oh. Gameplay. There you go. Oh, sweet. Okay, these are actually the 2 players. Perfect. How do I unmute it? Is it unmuted?
It's unmuted.
Oh my gosh! Ah! Okay, well, we're back. All right, so we just moved a couple of players over to the feature match area. We've got West Singleton, who you guys will remember from last week if you tuned in. He was playing that sweet, sweet eggs list versus Fisher Pine.
Yeah. Fisher
Pine, who is on Elves. I believe we also saw Fisher last week in the feature match area.
Is that a removal spell?
It was a return to nature for the Terrarian.
Wait, what? It's just weird to me because he still draws the card.
Right.
And then
It does like constrain West on mana though, but I guess like also targeting one of his lands would do the same thing.
but he has blue, 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 red, so I don't know. Yeah, I think if you just cut him off of the red, it would have been pretty effective as well.
Okay. So now West is just gonna like scry and cast spheres and scry and get in for 3. And
4.
and
He cast Electric Trickery at the start of this turn.
oh yeah, okay. I guess that's what happened to the Elvish Mystic. And yeah, well, there's a land, I think, a forest, which, or maybe it was not a forest. I thought it was a forest. Guess it's not a forest.
Wow, no 1-drop elves, no forests.
So what we didn't see, what I saw when I came over to move these players to the feature match area was a turn where Fisher had a board, and West went like Pyrite Spellbomb, removal spell, attack you for 4 with the profit.
This is some nasty luck on the side of the elves player.
True, because I think that if Ethan could have found a second land, his hand looks really explosive. West might not have been able to keep up.
Unfortunately, that is a Krark Clan Shaman, which is essentially a board wipe.
Yep. There's just Galvanic Blast your face.
Okay.
Gonna get in some scry and a little extra damage.
Wants the card. More bad news for our elves player.
So I don't know how big this is. We'll find out. I think it's just attacking for 2. No, 3. Yep. Okay. So yeah, Fisher falls to 5 and finds another 2-drop. And I think that was the match.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a Precept Titania that he drew the last turn when I thought it was a forest.
Yep, had Well-Wisher, a whole bunch of Lissalahan Masters.
Wow. Okay, so with the conclusion of this match with West, I think that we're ready to start a semi-finals match.
Ooh.
Ooh. So, sorry, we're going to be taking another short break. And then we'll be back with quarterfinals.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys in just a second.
Okay, we're back.
We're back. They're getting ready for the semifinal match between Jacob Hansen and Christine, who we just saw. And I just lost Christine's deck list.
Okay, we're giving them the green light, so whenever they're ready, which I think we're ready before them, they're going to go ahead and start. I still prefer watching them shuffle rather than
looking at our faces. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's watch them shuffle.
Ah, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so we've got Christine on the right with Black-White Pestilence, and she is playing against Jacob Hansen, who's playing Blue-Black Delver. One of the 3 Blue-Black Delver players that made it into the top 8.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Fortunately, the other 2 Blue-Black Delver players got paired in the quarters.
Oh yeah.
So there's potentially only 2 in the semifinals.
Okay.
But they're still on separate sides of the bracket, so there's still a good chance that our finals is just a Blue-Black Delver mirror. They both have to win their semifinal match.
That would be a very Pauper thing to do right now.
Yeah, that would be very on brand for the format.
So when testing this matchup, as the Black-White Pestilence player, it's better than a lot of the other decks in the format at fighting Blue-Black Delver, but it's still not a positive matchup.
Yeah, it's still tough. I think a lot of it too is pilot dependent. If the Blue-Black Delver pilot, what I found in the early days of piloting Blue-Black Delver, before Augur Bolus was even in the deck list, like, this is when I was like, Augur has to be in this deck. There's no reason it shouldn't be in this deck. What I found was that against Edict matchups, your Delvers just were there to eat Edicts. So you'd never play a Gurmag Angler until you could play an Edict. Because Gurmag Angler dodges almost all the other removal spell in this format. The only thing that Christine can really do is try to keep the board clear so that her Chainer's Edicts can take care of the Gurmag Anglers.
And yeah, this is kind of, it was one of the decks that pushed Edict decks out of the format again. There are plenty of reasons why Edicts aren't good in the format right now. Well, they weren't. I would say that they are making a major comeback in the last, I think, month and a half. Boros Monarch is on a decline right now. So,
well, I think that Spellstarter Sprite decks are another reason why Edicts weren't great. And this deck doesn't play fairies. There's no small little creatures to suck up all the Edicts.
Yeah.
There's Augur Bolus. That doesn't feel good, but...
Yeah, and a lot of them are running Stormbound Geist as well, and it's either between Stormbound Geist or Elusive Spellfist. I'm not sure what this player is on. It looks like two
Stormbound Geists in Jacob's main deck.
So that's probably a really smart decision for this meta.
Yeah, I agree. So looking at the deck list, yeah, Jacob's kind of cut down on a lot of the cantrips in the deck and is playing a Disfigure in the main deck and an extra Stormbound Geist over the extra 2 copies of Gitaxian Probe. There's also only 3 Dazes and 1 Counterspell.
Wow.
So there's 3 Snuff Out, 2 Echoing Decay, 1 Disfigure, 4 Preordain, 4 Brainstorm, 2 Gitaxian Probe, 3 Gush, 3 Daze, 3 Foil, 1 Dispel, 1 Counterspell, 1 Curse of Chains, and 18 lands.
So they just bumped up the number of kill spells in the deck.
Yeah, Jacob's added that extra Disfigure, and the extra Stormbound Geist.
I do think that in Paper Magic, there does tend to be more aggressive decks, more aggro decks, and that seems like a fair choice for that. So Christine is got an Orzhov Basilica, and I don't think any other lands.
Yeah, I see 2 Chainer's Edicts. There was a Guardian of the Guild Pact. Yeah, just the 1 Orzhov Basilica. So Christine looks like is taking a mulligan. Jacob has also decided to take a mulligan.
Gosh. So we're going to go down to 5 for both players.
Down to 5? Oh, I missed the first set of mulligans while I was reading the deck list out.
You were reading that and I saw it, but
okay.
I didn't say anything, but they're going down to 5.
Okay. And I think that the mulligan to 5 has to favor the player with cantrips.
And dazes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, if we can assume on 5 cards, Christine's probably going to be either light on resources or light on lands. Either way, Daze is powerful.
So he did find a Snuff Out, which I want to say is less good in this matchup.
Its only target are the, how many copies? The 4 copies of, or 2 copies of Palace Sentinels. The only other 4 creatures in Christine's deck are the 4 Guardian and the Guild Pact, so
Christine's going first. There's just an island.
Actually, like looking at it, there are a lot of dead cards. This increase in removal has actually, I think, made Jacob's deck slightly worse against this matchup.
Well, definitely, yeah. You want more counter spells and less kill spells against this deck for sure. Especially the way she's built it.
Mm-hmm. And she's just resolved to read the bones, so undoing that mulligan. She sees a Night's Whisper, and is that a Palace Sentinels?
I don't know, I want to bring my... Oh, she likes both of them.
She just drew them. I think it's a Palace Sentinels. It was oh, no, maybe not. It was definitely a Night's Whisper, but I can't quite make out what the second card was.
It may be an unmake.
So Jacob Gushing.
Gushing back to 0 lands in play? Brainstorm.
Looks like it. Yeah, really aggressive Gush from Jacob. So he's got that 1 mana still floating.
that really, I guess, would help
Two
dump,
cards going back.
dump cards in the graveyard if you want to play an Angler a little bit earlier.
There's a Delver of Secrets.
And
then, okay, Terramorphic Expanse. So, not horrible. Not a horrible turn for Jacob.
So, yeah, she's going to play, like, she's just going to keep the board clear for a little bit. And I imagine there's going to be a Night's Whisper. Yep. And a 17. Effectively, these cards effectively unmulligan a person.
Okay, so that was definitely a Palace Sentinels that she just drew. Looks like she's got another Night's Whisper in hand.
Yeah, she does.
So maybe the mulligan benefiting the player that has 6 divinations in their deck. And not the player that has cantrips.
I guess in this case, yeah. I mean, I wasn't really...
But I don't know. I feel like we probably shouldn't count the blue-black deck out yet.
No, yeah, this is one of the matchups that's always close to 50-50. If I don't know.
All right, well, there's another brainstorm for Jacob. And if he has a Gataxian Probe, he can resolve Gurmag Angler this turn. Although that would be dangerous, just not having a way to protect it from edicts.
Well, you might have a foil, for sure. Like, definitely has enough islands.
Yeah, that's super reasonable to believe that he would have a foil if he was going to gush as aggressively as he did early in the game.
Yeah.
That's got to be something that if you're Christine, you're thinking about.
Getting all of these out of her hand, sculpting. So, Pestilence, and I didn't catch the other card.
Another Orzhov Basilica, maybe?
It looks like it. But I keep thinking everything she's drawing is an Orzhov Basilica, so I can say it.
And there's a Cycle Ash Barrens. So Jacob had his 1-of Ash Barrens to make that a perfect brainstorm. And it looks like after he gets done with this, Christine's going to have to discard to hand size. So maybe it wasn't an Orzhov Basilica. So maybe she Night's Whispered to try to find another land drop? Because I'm assuming that this Ash Barrens is happening on her end step.
Yeah, I would have to be.
Oh no, maybe she just has 7 cards in hand and I'm bad at counting. I thought she had 8. I think she just has 7.
I'll believe that.
Okay, she just has 7. I counted 8 the first time.
Back up 3 lands.
I think this is for sure a fish.
Looks like it.
So you've got to assume that there's some sort of, like, he's got blue up, so counterspell. He has that 1-of Dispel. Oh, just on Augurbulus. So that was actually risky because Christine does have a 1-of Diabolic Edict in her deck.
With.
So not running out the Gurmag Angler first could have been dangerous for Jacob there.
This is duress, and that really helps out with however he was planning on protecting this.
A Gush, a Daze, Snuff Out, and 2 lands? I guess, yeah, take the Gush. Not a lot of action left over for Jacob. I guess you just Daze this, right? To get your value out of the Daze?
What value?
Oh, never mind. She has 2 mana up. I thought she was tapped out.
Yeah.
She was covering her lands. Alright. Looks like Jacob is in a rough spot.
Well, didn't feel pressured enough to just go for the Gush. Just like return 2 islands and Gush. Kind of desperation play, but...
Oh, that was a Stormbound, guys, not a land.
Oh, okay.
Address. Okay. That makes way more sense now. That's why he didn't Gush in, like, okay, you're going to take my Gush anyway, so this. He wanted to have 3 lands so that he could
That
resolve
makes more
Stormbound
sense.
Geist. This card is actually really good here. Woof! Not against Pestilence, though.
It is good against Pestilence. Like, surprisingly. She has to take 5 for this thing to leave the battlefield.
Okay.
I guess she can do that now.
I guess, yeah. So
Like-
she can 2 to it, and then she can do it Pestilence for 2, and then she takes 2 more, and then she has to Pestilence for 3 the next turn.
Yeah.
So that's 7 damage total. That's half her life total right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess it's better than just taking a bunch of hits from this Stormbound Geist.
And in this deck, there are no ways to reset it, because I know that if you can return your Stormbound Geist with like a Ninja in some other decks, or bounce it,
Yeah.
then having them repeatedly,
Kill it.
try to kill it, and then just end up punching themselves in the face too many times.
Yeah, so she's going to activate before she takes the damage. So each player just loses 3. +1 counter on the Stormbound Geist. And that will be bad for Christine is if Jacob has a follow-up play, because she had to do this during his main phase.
I don't think there's going to be a follow-up play. I think
No?
that he's just going to force her
To deal
use-
with the Stormbound Geist.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she loses the Pestilence, and then Jacob's free to just play cards out of his hand. But
Yeah. Unless...
Christine's got a Pristine Talisman,
Okay.
so that's step 1.
For sure. Return
So-
to a Plains?
Yep. Just going to pass the turn. Looks like Jacob... Does this work?
Just snuff out their own creature to get rid of Pestilence? Sure. That way they can play Delver a turn earlier.
Well, I mean, like... Oh, I guess it's timing-wise, but... Because you can't just do that in the end step, right? Like, if Christine says, I'm going to my end step, and you say...
Wait in your main phase.
Yeah, so you have to do it in the main phase so that Pestilence trigger.
Yeah, and that would give a player an opportunity to play a creature of their own.
Mm.
That was a full 4 mana for a snuff out there. Which is my favorite way to play that card.
Christine has a lot of options. There's Palace Sentinels in the hand,
The Radiant
Fountain, gains tons of life. Guardian of the Guild Pact is the play. Let's see if Jacob will flip the Delver. So he saved the fetch land. Interesting. So he did save the Evolving Wilds so that he could reset the top of his library from Delver of Secrets, but I think he instead just chose to draw the card. I think it was the Augur Bolas.
Yeah, it looks like it. Grabbed a Brainstorm off of the Augur Bolas and passed up a Snuff Out.
Yeah, so this seems much better for Jacob. He can now Brainstorm with the fetch land backing it up. He's got a little bit of protection from an Edict.
And Christine is incentivized to just leave that that Guardian of the Guild Pact back to block.
Yeah, because if... Oh,
We're getting a close-up view of these cards here.
I guess someone bumped into the camera somehow. Now everything's all hamajang.
Yeah. Little to the left.
It's like perfect. It was like set up perfectly. It was like centered great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my.
whoever did that is in a lot of trouble. Christine, up to 14 life for another Guardian of the Guild Pact. Okay, so now you just attack with this first one. For
Yes.
sure.
Man, and in this situation, you're
Ooh,
dead,
Jacob's
bro.
at -3. All right, game 2. He's at 15. There we go. Little technical troubles with that. Is that another? Ooh. This deck just gains so much life.
Yeah. It feels like it gains life without even really trying. It is giving up a lot to gain this life,
Sure, yeah.
but it does gain an absurd amount of life.
So Brainstorm for Jacob. He's going to be able to put back the stinkers. Looks like he wants to draw them. So, yeah, all right. He's just flipping his Delver. Curious that he would draw the Snuff out. Oh, no. He just
still has
needed...
an opportunity.
Yep. There we go. So he's just going to reset the top of his library here, flip his Delver, get a fresh draw step.
And in Gurmag Anglers, I guess one Gurmag Angler prevents 2 damage a turn right now.
Yeah.
But that's not as exciting as a Delver of Secrets.
Yep. Well, he could still just have a Gurmag Angler in his hand, right?
Well, that's true.
Yeah, because him having Gurmag Angler would mean he's attacking for 4 every turn.
Huh?
Because he can attack with the Augur Bolus. It just means like, yeah, if Christine's going to attack with one Guardian, Jacob can attack with everything, and Christine is almost just forced into just blocking with the second Guardian, and then you're trading 4 damage for 2. The other option is that Christine just doesn't attack, so that she can block both creatures, and then just takes 3 in the air.
Yeah, gaining 1 life a turn, so.
Yeah, so like there's the fish.
Fishy. Diabolic Edict.
Not looking hot here. And I think that... I'm not sure what other removal Christine has in her hand right now. It looks like she's got a Swamp, a Plains, an Edict. Is that just 3 lands and an Edict?
I'm not sure what those other cards are. There's at least a Swamp.
No, there it is. There's at least a Plains and an Edict. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like we're going to find out what it is. Okay, all right, well, we found out what the Edict was, so we knew that was there. The Augur Bolus hits the bin. Okay, in for 2. Okay, and this seems much better. Now they're just trading 2 damage a turn.
Yeah.
I think that the last 2 cards in her hand are just Swamp Plains. I know for sure there's a Plains because it's the sweet Oasis, like African Savanna Tree Plains. It's one of my favorite artworks.
At this rate, the Delver player wins.
Yeah.
They're doing their damage first. Okay, well, there's a life.
Okay, and Christine's effectively at 13 also. So now Christine's ahead in the damage race. Because she's at 13. Next turn, she goes to 11. Jacob goes to 9.
Yeah.
So it's actually like kind of curious that Jacob left the Gurmag Angler back.
Why?
I mean, it can't block. Just attack with it.
But why tap it?
I don't know. Make her block. Because now you're like putting her like, okay, well, he attacked with the Gurmag Angler, so I don't know. Is there any reason to not attack? Just like make your opponent make the right decision? Like there's nothing with haste off the top that's going to like get you.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's probably just inconsequential either way.
It definitely is. I just feel like I know that there's no reason to and no reason not to.
So I think that like the reason to is just you make your opponent make the right decision.
But I don't know.
Maybe Christine just forgets her creature has protection from monocolored. I don't know.
But maybe I think as the Delver player, I might be afraid that there might be something that I've forgotten about, like a -3/-3 spell or something like that. Something weird.
Oh, that's reasonable. Sure. Okay. I mean, honestly, it's probably just inconsequential. Like
it definitely is.
Yeah. Wow, Jacob
definitely found the lands.
Yeah. Christine back to 9.
Now Christine's back, I think, to win.
And then she's going to go to 10.
10.
And then she's at 12. Yeah, I mean, Jacob needs to find another threat or he's losing this race.
Yeah, and one of these turns here, Christine is just going to attack with both of her creatures.
Yep.
And...
Yep, back to 9, gain the life. I mean, Jacob dealing 1 damage a turn. Last turn, he didn't even deal damage because she had the Scoured Barons.
Here's a duress.
So now we finally get to see what Jacob's holding on to. There's a counterspell, so something Jacob cares about protecting. Unless counterspell was the only relevant card. In which case you might as well save the information.
Keep her wondering.
But yeah, I know I saw a daze in his hand. It looks like he's just like flooded out.
Preordained.
And just found some duds.
Or was that a ponder?
It was a preordained.
Okay, good.
So Delver of Secrets. Okay.
But
so this is curious because Christine's not in a position where she can attack with both creatures yet.
Not yet.
Because if she attacks with both creatures to put Jacob to 1, all right, never mind. She had a removal spell. Full cost foil. I mean, you got the mana. So she attacks with both, and Jacob flips the Delver. She's just dead on board. So she can only attack with the 1.
Yeah.
Which means that Jacob is can potentially win this race if he has another threat for this turn.
Wait, how?
Oh, he didn't flip the Delver. Well, because he would attack for 6, right? If he had another threat. Oh, never mind, because Christina just attacked him for 4.
Yeah.
Your Mag Angler can't block.
Right.
You're right. He just lost.
Okay, so somebody finally brought down the unbeatable, dominant...
That was game 1, all right? Settle down. Okay, Christine sideboard, Circle Protection blue, 2 copies. Coming in?
Yes.
Yes. Circle Protection black, 1 copy. Coming in?
Yeah.
Cassiate, 2 copies. Coming in?
That was a little bit more tricky. I want to say yes.
Okay. Nihil Spellbomb, 2 copies. Definitely coming in.
I think we're seeing a problem here.
3 Fragmentized? No. 2 Circle Protection red? No. 2 Standard Bearers? No. Unmake? Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards potentially coming in on Christine's side.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff to bring in, but so to take out, I would probably say Evan Kerr's Justice is fine.
Sure.
Like pretty good actually. The Palace Sentinels, I believe, are something that come out.
Yeah, the Palace Sentinels come out. The Evan Kerr's Justice comes out.
And then you're on the fence about all of
the
your
dead weights, like
your dead weights, your diabolical.
I mean, the dead weights and the disfigures.
Yeah, those
only hit Delver of Secrets.
Yeah, but they do it very efficiently.
Sure.
You don't take out all of them for sure, but it seems good.
Yeah. All right, and on Jacob's side, we've got 1 Counterspell, 1 Relic of Progenitus, 1 Curse of Chains, 1 Echoing Decay, 2 Hydroblast, 2 Dispel, 2 Shrivel, 2 Annul, a 3rd Stormbound Geist, and 2 of Nixlus's Cruelty.
So this is going to get really... I think this is going to swap a lot. So the Blue-Black Delver player can take out a lot of that removal that we were saying was so awkward.
Yeah.
Almost, well, let's just say all of it.
Yeah, the Counterspell can come in, the 2 Dispels can come in, the 3rd Stormbound Geist can come in.
He leaves in...
The Relic can even come in, because it's better than some of the dead cards in your sideboard,
I think
or in your main deck.
Removal that stays in the deck is Curse of Chains. And
yeah,
look at that.
Oh, yeah. And, oh, he even has another copy of Curse, so he can bring in both those Curse of Chains to deal with the Guardian.
That's neat.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think Jacob's, like... I know that we said this a lot last week, and never when we said it did our predictions come true, but I think that going into games 2 and 3, Jacob's deck is definitely favored for the matchup.
So we've just made Christine the favorite.
Yeah, so we just put Christine into the finals.
Okay, and man, that was a game of both mull to 5, and they just both hit so many lands.
They also drew a lot of cards. I think Christine drew more cards than Jacob that game. I don't know. Jacob brainstormed like, what, 3 times and had shuffles?
Does that count as 3 or 1?
I think that counts as a lot. That counts as 3, yeah. Because you take all the dead stuff out of your hand, you know? And Jacob's mulliganing, and Christine looks like she's kept her 7.
Oh, it's happening, Brandon.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jacob.
Waiting. Suspense. See if that's Circle of Protection.
That was blue, I think.
Okay.
I don't actually know. I just flipped a coin in my head. Well, no, there's 2 Circle Protection blue, 1 Circle Protection black. So I'm going to say it was Circle Protection blue. Even though I think it was Circle Protection black.
Preordain. Top, bottom. Where did that come from?
That was the Dispel that was going to the bottom of his stack.
That came out of his secret rocket sleeve when he needs a Dispel.
So, one of the, I guess, signature characteristics of this format, games start at 21 life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Modern, it's like, you're usually at like 17. You start the game at like 17. Pauper, you start the game at 21. And in Christine's case, 23. Radiant Fountain's going to gain 2 more life. Oh, wow. And Jacob's missing... Oh, Jacob found his land. Okay. So he preordained, passed the turn. Preordained, didn't find land. And then he found a land and played a Delver of Secrets.
And there are so many different arts on Circle of Protections that it's hard to tell, at least.
And I'm thinking that was a Circle of Protection blue because it ate a counterspell.
Is this it? The little face here?
Yeah, that's the one. Circle of Protection blue.
Yep, that was definitely blue.
All right, 3 damage coming in.
Is that a flip Delver?
Yep.
So we see a Pestilence and some other friends. Is that a Chainer's Edict, I think?
So yeah, I think you play the Edict here to play around Dazes rather than just run out the Pestilence.
Straight up counter spell. And then you do the Knight's Whisper. Yep.
And this is one of the things that make the black-white deck have that bit of percentage points against blue-black Delver. Is the blue-black Delver doesn't have a lot of raw card advantage. They want to try to 1-for-1 with your cards as much as they can, and then force you to 2-for-1 yourself to deal with their powerful cards. They're more reliant on just like individual card power than anything else. But with Christine just being able to just divination multiple times in a game to pull that far ahead on cards, you know, she can afford to do things like that.
So there's a Stormbound Geist in play now.
Yeah, this is actually a tough turn for Christine because okay, that's great. That's really great.
Wait.
Foil, pitching, Brainstorm, and Island.
That hurts.
That hurts really bad.
So this game right here is why you cut Palace Sentinels out of your deck. This happens so often. I'm just like, okay, so Castigate, Pestilence, Read the Bones, and Pristine Talisman, and I believe a land.
Yep, and that sweet Portal Plains that I do like very much.
So it looks like she needs to get the Pestilence down as soon as possible to stand a chance.
She's going to take 5 this turn.
Yeah.
And Jacob... Oh, I thought Jacob went down to 0 cards on that foil, but it looks like he had more cards in hand.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I thought he went down to no cards to cast that foil.
I think he still had like 2?
He had 3. He
had
had 2.
3.
He had 2, so he
okay.
drew the 3rd card. Or he had 3. Yeah, he had 3 cards. He had a full 6 cards in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And he's the one who mulliganed.
What the heck is going on? I guess Christine's just had 7 cards like the entire time, too.
Yeah. So I think she wants to get the pristine talisman out.
Yeah, I think that's step 1, but this is just such a slow game plan.
Yeah.
Leading up to this pestilence, but you kind of don't have a choice.
Yep.
I guess you can castigate this turn and have Daze mana back up with that talisman, but
that seems like a good plan.
Yeah.
Make sure things don't get worse. Make sure your plan is going to work. There's an Angler, an Augur Bolas, and a Brainstorm.
Yeah, so Angler goes down. Christine's going to take 5, and then the thing's going to gain her back up to 6. Does she even have time to just get this Pestilence down?
I believe if she has 2 black mana, if she has 4 total black mana, this works.
I think she does. Yeah, if she has 4 total black mana, this can work out.
It has to.
Yeah, she has to be able to do this here, or... well, no, because the Pristine Talisman is going to get her to 7.
So you... Wait, what?
So the Talisman is going to get her to 7, right?
Yeah. Reps of Plains.
This is a lot of mana. Oh, flashing back an Edict?
That just makes it worse.
Does she not have Pestilence in her hand? Maybe. Oh, that's another Edict, I think, maybe?
No way. I mean, it looks like Pestilence.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Jacob is Brainstorm.
I could be fooled right now, and I could have been wrong the whole time. But that happens. But
okay, in for 6. That drops Christine to 1.
Just run out there and be like, "What's that card in your hand?" But now it's too late to do a Pestilence plan. Just scoops it up. We'll never know.
Yeah, I think that might have been another Edict. And she just decided that I'm gonna cast the most expensive Edict now in case I draw something off the top of my deck, and that way the next turn I can double spell. So she has the option of Edict plus something else. She just didn't have that something else to take care of the second threat.
That would make sense. Yeah. Just based on the way she played, that has to be what it was.
Yeah, we were probably just we thought we saw Pestilence, but I think that was another Chainer's Edict, and so that was the line of thinking. So we're gonna go to a game 3 here in our semi-final match at the Oasis Games Pauper Invitational.
Dun, dun, dun. I don't know why I did the John Cena thing. I just feel like we needed theme music to take us to commercial.
Bow chicka bow bow. It's the football music.
Yeah, for a thing like Fox or something.
Tuesday Night Pauper, brought to you by Oasis Games.
I don't think you can do more than just like what you did without them like kicking down the door. Boom! Get on the ground! Copyright!
I ain't scared of the NFL.
They're not scared of you either, so...
Cool, so... What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object?
You get both a stoppable and immovable object that are not moving.
Nice. Magic the Shuffling. Alright, this is it. This is for all the peanuts. The winner of this match is in the finals. of the second ever Pauper Invitational brought to you by Oasis Games.
Do you think we're going to be able to see the Delver mirror?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on West. What you gonna do, West? You gonna let us have a Delver mirror, or are you going to make us watch whatever we're gonna watch?
The greatest match.
Could you?
Well, it definitely could be. We're not counting anybody out. It's just It's just a joke that how prevalent this deck is.
Right. I mean, oh no, Christine's mulliganing. Oh, it looks like nope. Jacob was just shuffling his hand. I saw the deck.
Now pick up your deck. Put the cards in there.
Come on, mulligan. No, we don't want any of these players to mulligan. We like them both. They're our friends.
Here's for a good 6. Just undoes the deck stack which she just worked so hard on. Jokes. I have to be clear that these are jokes.
Bad jokes.
They are bad jokes. I shouldn't accuse anybody of cheating. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you'll get pulled out of the Hall of Fame for that. It's heartbreaking. Don't cheat. Guys, come on.
It's a game.
I love you so much, and then you cheat, and then I'm, like, forced to hate you. But I love you.
See, Brandon has started drinking, like, so much. He doesn't have any role models anymore.
I don't. The one person who I loved more than anything besides Reed Duke. If Reed Duke turns out to be a cheater, I don't know. I'm done forever.
Bam, straight to Matt.
All right, duress. What are we looking at?
Well, we know that snuff outs were kept in.
Interesting.
Isn't it?
Maybe Jacob. Well, I mean, these players aren't clear on each other's deck list. Maybe he believes that she's got extra creatures. I mean, you do see a lot of black-white decks that do have more creatures in them. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't have enough to take out. Maybe he thought that the foils were just worse.
Huh.
It could just be that he felt that foils were just worse in this matchup, and decided to take those out over the snuff outs.
Definitely some interesting magic. Because
yeah, I mean, we'll have to see.
That's why this game interests me so much, is because I'm just like, this is how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And then it just doesn't.
They're just, well, I mean, there's so many decision points all the time that no one player could ever have the definitive right answer.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that, like, both of you could come up with compelling arguments for why or why not Snuff Out should be in his deck right now. And yeah, that's just what makes Magic so incredible. As long as the players aren't cheating.
Yeah.
Augur Bolus finds foil. Okay.
What?
Well, I'm wrong. He's got foils.
That was an annul.
Oh, that was an annul?
That was an annul.
What? Are you sure?
100%.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the old artwork foil. All right, so Castigate's looking at a lot of stuff. Do you take the Curse of Chains? So what is annul trying to target here?
Pestilence.
Oh, duh. I knew it right as I said it. Okay, so in my head, annul counters Frog Mites and Mer Enforcers most of the time. Like, that's what it's like one of its main roles is. And so I'm sitting here thinking, like, do you really want annul so that you can counter talismans? And then as soon as I asked the question, I was like, oh, it counters enchantments too. I look like such a doofus. So Christine's having a really big think on this, and she takes the annul. Okay.
That seems good. It was that or...
I think it's that or the curse, right?
Yeah.
So this probably means that Christine's got Pestilence in her hand and wants to protect it.
There's another Augur Bolas, so like little bits of advantage here.
Looks like a whiff. Oh, nope, Gitaxian Probe. I saw Gurmag Angler and Island. Oh, wow. So not even anything that the annul could have countered anyway.
Unmake,
Echoing Decay, and Nice Whisper. But I guess also nothing that the Curse of Chains can target either, so...
That's true. But
I guess just like Pestilence is your just kind of most powerful card in this matchup, so just kind of banking on hoping to draw it.
Yeah, because
and just like
right
thinking
now,
that if I draw that and it gets annulled, I'm in a much worse position than if I draw Guardian and it gets cursed.
Christine's finally getting up to the number of mana that I think she feels more confident in once you hit.
Ooh, and Jacob's going to have a really good brainstorm. It looks like he found 2 counterspells. Ooh. A actual copy of Counterspell and a Dispel off of this brainstorm.
This is end stuff?
No. I think this is his main phase, but it's going to be a perfect brainstorm either way. With that fetch land, the Evolving Wilds, finding his basic swamp. So is it tilting that he plays snow-covered islands and regular swamps?
No.
To you?
Not at all.
To me, I feel like I couldn't play a snow-covered land and not have all my lands be snow-covered lands. Like, aesthetically, it would just bother me.
Okay. I don't know. No, it doesn't bother me in the least.
I know it doesn't make a difference at all.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. It feels like they don't match.
So there's a Guardian of the Guild Pact, which essentially is either a dead draw or...
Castigate.
Okay, Castigate.
So he's going to lead with Castigate, try to protect it.
Yeah.
And Jacob's just going to counterspell here, trying to protect the rest of the cards in his hand, maybe?
That would be a very good counterspell, because then it's going to protect this. Yeah. Okay, Chainer's Edict.
So now Christine's setting up to resolve some powerful spells on her next turn. Probe. Unmake, Echoing Decay, and the Guardian of the Guild Pact.
Now knows exactly what he needs to say counterspells for, and what cards he can play. Like, as far as creatures go. Yeah. Delver's... Oh! This is basically saying, I have another counterspell, I'm ready for your unmake. Unless...
No, he just tapped out.
But that doesn't mean anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. In for 1!
1!
That was an aggressive one.
I know.
Wow.
Okay, Pristine Talisman. This looks like an unmake.
He just says, okay. Darmag Angler's unmade. Makes me think that it wasn't a Dispel. And I think it was blind. Gush was just blind there. But no, he has another counterspell in his hand. I guess he just figures that he wants his counterspell to be for other things. I think there's better things for this counterspell to hit than removal spells. He's just presented enough threats anyway that he doesn't care if one of them gets removed.
Yeah. Like, this is still lethal. Doing 5 a turn is still lethal. You don't need to do 10.
Right.
So just wait until
and
something that kills your more important guys. And then he's got another Delver of Secrets.
Yeah,
so that
save it. Save the counterspell for the Pestilence that's going to wipe your board.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's totally fine. Understanding, like, resource management is so important when you're playing the Blue-Black Delver deck, and I think Jacob's doing a really good job at that.
It just weirds me out. It weirds people out when they just let a Garmog Angler go, since it's such a big threat.
Oh, it's frightening. It's just like, wow. Okay, do you not... Like, what do you have now that you're just going to let that happen? Or do you just not have anything?
So here's 2 mana. Echoing Decay, your...
Dispel. Takes
Insectile
care.
Aberration.
Takes care of that.
So a couple of weird things here. I mean, these are just like small things, but if you waited to see if that Delver flipped...
Yeah, but also she would be going into Counterspell Magic. And at the time, Jacob only had 1 island up. So at that point, she's playing around just Dispel, as opposed to letting Jacob untap. And playing around Counterspell and Dispel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he just had 1. Or no,
he had 1 mana up, and it was 1 blue mana up.
I thought he had 2 as well.
No. Because
Okay.
he had gushed that turn and then used one of those islands. One of those islands was tapped.
Let's go to the instant replay.
One of the islands was tapped. I'm fairly certain.
That'll look really good from first.
Unless the tapped island was to pay for the dispel, and I'm just wrong.
That's what I think.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. Oh. Yeah, and it looks like that is the end of the match. Jacob picks it up 2-1. So we have one Blue-Black Delver deck in the finals.
Woo!
Congratulations, though, to Christine, making it all the way to the semifinals. Again, I forgot to go and pick up a prize structure list, so I don't know how much cash prize she's taking away out of this. I do know that first place is playing for $250.
Wow. That's pretty good.
I do know that. But
and then congratulations to us for finally predicting something correctly.
we did. But also, like, all of our sideboard predictions were just wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Jacob just blew us out of the water.
I mean,
Actually, no, we didn't see foils. So he might have just taken out the foils for the Dispel and the annuls.
Looks like her sideboard plan was pretty much what we said. Like, it was pretty dang close. Like, just another unmake. Game 3 wants to wait until current stream game is over, and then play in the future area. You guys cool with that? Yeah. We said yes.
Okay, so we are gonna have another semifinal match coming up between Wes Singleton and John Buchanan. I'm not sure what game they're in, but we held the game until this match was over. So I think we're gonna probably just see the last game of their match coming up.
I'm just asking what the record is here.
Okay, so we know what West is playing. He's playing his spicy eggs deck. And John Buchanan is our other Blue-Black Delver player that's still alive. He beat the Mirror in the quarterfinals to make it to the semifinals.
I can't wait until this round is over and I can fix that camera. Actually, there's nothing holding me back.
Yeah, just go fix it. And I'll stand here awkwardly.
Good.
No, we're gonna be right back in like a minute. Just like a minute. We're gonna go straighten out the camera and then we're gonna get things set up with our other semi-final match. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, hey, we're back. How do you make the thing so we can see them on the table?
Brandon.
That's gross. People are going to see this. Okay, do the thing so we can see the other table.
Okay.
There we go. Sean is so smart. So they're just going to shuffle up, resolve your mulligans and everything, and when they're ready to go, we will get you guys to the match. But so the matchup we've got West is up a game.
Mm-hmm.
Here he got game 1, so we're going to see game 2 and potentially game 3 from both of these players. And John Buchanan on just a really typical Blue-Black Delver list.
Wait, what?
What?
Kasmina's Transmutation?
Oh.
That's not typical.
No, I just saw that. Okay. What is that card?
That is colorless and a blue to turn a creature into a 1/1.
Okay.
It's a new card from War of the Spark.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, it's the frog. It's the card that I had a problem with.
Oh, right, because it turns armies into bigger armies.
It turns armies into bigger creatures, and the picture, and like the artwork and the flavor text is Kasmina being all like, hey, you zombie, be a frog, a 1/1 frog. But in the limited formats, there's 0/0 zombies that get +1/+1 counters. So when you transmutate them, they become 2/2s. So I I hate that card. It doesn't work at all. Why?
Now it does. Now that the armies will see literally 0 play in Pauper
That's true.
for the foreseeable future. So here it's great.
The best thing to do with Kesmina's transmutation is to put it on a zombie frog.
Yeah.
And turn it into a zombie frog that's smaller.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way.
This card...
It goes from a fish to a frog.
I guess you're right. It's a fish. A zombie fish to a zombie frog.
So it can breathe both air and go in the water.
I have a lot of problems with this card. None of them actually have anything to do with its strategic advantage or disadvantage or like how playable it actually is. It's just all from a flavor perspective. I'm not a fan of Kesmina's transmutation.
But yeah, other than that, it's pretty typical. They have cut the down to the core 12 creatures, so they're not running anything beside. Are they starting?
It looks like.
Looks like they're presenting their decks.
Okay. Yeah, so they're presenting decks. It looks like they're just shuffling up. They'll draw their 7s. How do you fix this?
I did a bit.
All right, yeah, it's better than it was.
It's hard to see.
It was so perfect.
Yeah.
Who bumped it?
I don't know.
Oh, shame.
But yeah, he's down to just Delvers, Gurmag, Angler, and Augur Bolas.
Yeah, no Stormbound Geist, which I actually think favors him in this matchup.
Yeah.
Stormbound Geist is slow and it is clunky, and that's probably not what you want against West. West is not slow and clunky. He's actually a pretty nimble guy. I'd imagine he's pretty fast.
He looks fast.
Like, he's probably like the kid that was just like unsuspecting, like you didn't ever expect anything out of him in PE class, but then when you had to play flag football, no one could get his flag. Like, I imagine West was that kid. Like,
I don't know what to say.
just agree with me. You know I'm right.
He's also down to 6 cards now.
Big oof.
Okay.
And
Looks
he's
like
keeping and he's scrying.
Mirror Enforcer, some other cards.
Island Go from John. Red artifact land into Star. Another island for John. And passes the turn. Seat of the Schnod. Relic of Progeninitis.
Here's a sideboard card that has come in, and that doesn't see a counterspell or anything. So here's an Aether Spellbomb. Aether Spellbomb is pretty good against Gurmag Angler.
Yeah.
So even if a Gurmag Angler comes down, which with Relic there, it's probably going to take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's going back in his hand.
It might not even be coming out on time. So here's 1 mana for... Ooh, and he drew another Thoughtcast off the Thoughtcast. So there's another Great Furnace. There's the Mirror Enforcer.
Mirror Enforcer for 1 mana, and then he can just go straight into another Thoughtcast if he wants to risk a Daze. Yep, it looks like single blue.
Galvanic Blast. There's no Thoughtcast.
Yep. Oh, man.
All the cards flowing for West.
So the player
so
that's up
far,
a game is just...
Nothing out of John.
Kesmina's Transmutation.
There we go.
This is now a 1/1.
Takes care of the Mirror Enforcer.
Yep.
Or makes it a 1/1.
Imagine we're going to see a frog go into combat pretty soon.
And another Relic. So I guess at this point it's safe to say that Gurmag Angler is just never coming down.
Oh yeah.
And not a lot of action on John's side either. Turn 1, he did nothing. Turn 2, he did nothing. That was his third turn.
Bounces his own Mirror Enforcer. Gets rid of your Casmina's Transmutation. Let's just throw that guy down for 1 mana. Or
just for free.
For a free. Those are some sweet tricks. Get rid of your Casmina's Transmutation.
Yeah, and I mean, West's board does look really full.
Yeah.
But really, John's just got to be worried about the Mirror Enforcer, and he had another answer to it. So John's not really under a lot of pressure here.
That's true.
It is unfortunate though that he's had to spend all of his mana each turn, and he's not able to like double spell. He hasn't had any time to like cantrip and try to set up his hand.
And he's casting all of this sorcery speed, which does hurt.
Mm-hmm. So there's another spell bomb,
but no real capitalization on the awkward turn here.
So there's the swamp.
Mm-hmm. Looking at a Gurmag Angler and some other stuff.
Just a pass. And for 1 comes the transmuted Mirror Enforcer.
Yeah.
Ew, and there's Burning Prophet. If you've got a counterspell, now is the time.
There's a Hydro Blast.
That is a perfect counterspell.
That functions like a counterspell. Because it is. That gets exiled immediately. Another land. I imagine that's what you want to be seeing.
Yeah, I think that John needs his mana. Still, though, again, passes. So it looks like he's just got a really reactive hand, possibly.
Mm-hmm. Another Aether spell.
And that's going to reset the Mirror Enforcer.
Yeah, we've seen this dance before.
Exile. And then recast the Mirror Enforcer for 0 mana.
Well, good. This is still trading a card for +3/+3 on your Mirror Enforcer.
Yeah. Well, and you're not even trading a card for +3/+3. You're trading your card for John's card. Because you're essentially just trading the spell bomb for the transmutation.
Yeah.
So card for card, and you're getting +3/+3. So you're ahead in the exchange.
So this is Soul Reap. Destroy target creature. If you cast a black spell this turn, the creature's controller loses 3 life. No black spell was cast, so...
And there's a Delver of Secrets. Yep, going to exile the Soul Reap. Wes is going to pop one of the spell bombs, take care of the Delver. Get an untap.
So this is kind of going according to the Delver players. I'm just going to call him John.
That's his name.
Yeah. This is going according to John's plan of just stall. Yeah, you have those relics, but if I can prevent you from winning the game, I would rather you have those relics, and eventually I'm going to get to 7 mana, because that's what he's been forced into. But that totally works.
Do you think that John can stall that much, though?
At this rate?
I mean,
yes.
Yeah, West isn't doing a lot. Finds Counterspell off of his Augur Bolus, which he cast off Island Swamp.
So what I'm thinking is he's going to be able to continue to make nothing happen until West decides to pull the trigger and start popping these eggs. So now he's got a clock.
All right. Yeah, the pieces are coming together for John despite his slow start.
Yeah, this looked really bad, but now it looks close.
Yeah, I mean, if we had the production quality of Wizards of the Coast, we'd have a little red bar, and that little red bar would not be pointing towards either player at this point.
I want one of those.
You want an advantage bar?
Yeah. I'd probably make one.
I don't think we need one.
We do. those cards in his hand, though.
Yeah, and West is down to just 2. He's getting into a position where you're right. He's forced to maybe start wanting to cash in these relics for new cards.
As soon as that happens, an angler comes down.
Yeah. But then what do? Do you just wait until John has enough mana to cast the angler, like you said? Like, it's a really tough spot that West is in right now, just not having a lot of pressure.
So I think you wait until kind of like right before they hit 7 mana to make it awkward as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Pyrite Spellbomb is not doing much right now.
Sure.
So I would say that that's...
Go ahead and just sacrifice the Spellbomb.
Yeah. Like, maybe like do one of the relics, think about the Spellbomb. You're going to also want your mana because he's got Golem Foundry in his hand. So there's at least one spell that he wants to resolve. I don't know. I'm not entirely
sure. Will you remind us what Golem Foundry does?
Golem Foundry is a 3-mana artifact. Each time an artifact is cast, each time Golem Foundry's owner casts an artifact card, you put a counter on it. You can remove 3 counters for a 3/3 golem.
Yep.
So he's up to 5 mana. That's 2 away from 7. Counting going on.
All right, okay. John untaps, draws his card, gets in for 1. Preordain.
Okay. Are we looking for land number 6? I think is one of the cards he wants to see. I think any kind of counterspell is going to be like a top-notch card, though. Is that a top-top?
It looked like a top-top.
Single blue, is this a Delver or another cantrip?
I imagine it's probably another cantrip.
Yep.
I mean, I guess you got to get the bomb off the table eventually, but I don't really like the idea of running out Delvers into them.
That's the order. Draw my card. Does have the land.
Okay.
So we're up to 6. Exile your cards. And then I imagine he's just untap draw. This is a burning profit. I think in this phase of the game, you let the burning profit resolve, maybe? If you have a snuff out.
Yeah, if you have a removal spell, yeah, you let it resolve and you just kill it. Because John's got 4 mana untapped. He doesn't even have to pay life to kill it with the burning profit. Or the snuff out to kill the burning prophet. Sorry.
Yeah.
What I meant to say, but
okay.
No, he just got another Hydroblast.
Hydroblast is also you just
perfect. Perfect answer.
So going for
and the counterspell hits the Mirror Enforcer. Golem Foundry. Ooh, so West set that up really nicely. And drawing the burning prophet there was just perfect. Like, that was just the perfect moment to make sure that he could resolve his Golem Foundry into all of this mana that John had.
Yeah. And a resolved Golem Foundry is one of the cards that I think the Blue-Black Delver player...
Because it's on cast, right? Yeah.
It is.
So, and West has all of these insignificant egg effects. And there's no answer for this card once it's resolved.
Right. the only thing you can really do is make the golems not matter as much. Like if you attack with a Gurmag Angler, they block with 2 guys, and you Echoing Decay, you can wipe out 2 of them. That's 6 artifact spells that they needed to cast just to generate those.
Yeah.
So there are some awkward things like that you can still do to a player who's resolved that, but there's that.
But I guess
sense of
you've got to think,
inevitability.
like, you've got to wonder though. John has 2 Echoing Decays in his main deck and 1 in the sideboard. You got to remember, we're in the sideboarded games. Do you think Echoing Decay is even still in his deck?
It is unlikely, definitely.
I mean, that's just such a corner case scenario for possibly the only good case to make for Echoing Decay right now. That, like, oh, he's going to double block with 2 of his creatures, and I can Echoing Decay them and get value that way. I would imagine that Echoing Decay is not even in the deck right now. I mean, he had to make room for all these Power Blasts and the Soul Reap anyway. I'm sure he's got the Annuls in the sideboard as well.
So here it is. We've got a fish.
Fish.
So another reason why West doesn't want to pop these relics is we do know that he's on Swirling Sandstorm. So that could be a doozy.
Okay, so counter on the Golem Foundry.
For why?
A star.
Okay, a star.
Yeah, he just had it down by his lands while it was on the stack. Gonna pop that. Filter a mana, draw a card. He's got Galvanic Blast. And another non-artifact, I believe, in his hand. It looks like I wanted to say it looks like a blue card.
It did look like a blue card.
Okay, well there's Galvanic Blast on the Gurmag Angler.
And then...
So I'm wondering if it's just another Galvanic Blast.
No, it's got to be the Pyrite spell one he's going to follow up.
Oh, duh. The onboard effect.
Yeah, it gets you every time.
Yeah. Alright, and that takes care of that.
I imagine there's another zombie fish coming in the near future.
Yeah, there's gotta be. Well, I think that West has really tried to sculpt this game around resolving that Golem Foundry. He held on to it until he knew he could resolve it in the face of all John's mana. He's held his Galvanic Blasts.
Even at the point it was played, it was still a risk to play.
Was it? Oh,
I believe it was. But maybe.
Well, I mean, the only thing that beats you is foil, and that's going to beat you all the time, no matter what. So,
yeah,
the best thing you can do is get them tapped out as low as they can. Ooh, Dispel. So it was a blue card. I was right.
Yeah.
Tap them out as low as they can be, so that you only are playing around foil.
Dispel your Dispel to get my Gush to resolve. Resolve Gush?
Yep, and in response, just eat the Dispel with the Relic.
I never returned to my islands, apparently. And... can still cast a zombie fish, I believe.
I don't think he's played a land for turn either.
Yeah.
So he should have a mana floating, and then he can play his land for turn.
Yes.
Okay. Nothing else to do with that extra mana. So pops a relic.
Yeah.
Decide. I guess this is. I think that's a good spot.
Both relics.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, like, the graveyard doesn't matter. John can just hard cast Gurmag Anglers at will at this point.
So there's a Darksteel Citadel and a Pirate Spellbomb he drew for that Thought cast, and then apparently had a...
crack that star, filter a mana, get a new card.
Definitely can have at least
looks like
one
he drew an
golem.
island. So, yeah, West is flooding out a lot.
Well, that's what I think Egg's decks tend to do, since so many of your cards cantrip.
Yeah, and what we saw last week when we saw West on camera is him doing all of this, but with Burning Prophet in play. And that made the difference. Being able to filter all those lands to the ground and make your eggs just draw more eggs. And since John's been able to answer the 2 Burning Prophets that West has played, he's kind of just at the mercy of the top of his deck.
There's an annul off of that Augur Bolas. Attack you.
For 6. All right.
It's starting to hurt. Three.
There's Stormbound Geist.
That's a sideboard card.
Yeah, so he brought him in. Okay, there's Burning Prophet. There's... Let's see if... West has 2 cards in hand, and he just didn't have anything else. So this is a really tough spot. I think that West just has to hope. Taking 8 here, down to 2.
Curious spot.
See, I think that, like, I would have made a golem there to block one of the augurs so that I could be at 3.
Yeah.
So that I have the option of chump blocking the Gurmag Angler if I have to. I think West's only hope there was to just kind of go off. Just find a Ripper on top and go off. At which point being at 2 life wouldn't have, like, mattered. Like, being at 2 life would have been what killed you, and if you were at 3 life, you would have had an extra turn.
Doesn't it feel like this is more of like a... It doesn't feel like this is an egg deck with real Rippers. Like
well, he just has to draw a star, and then draw another star, and then draw another star, so that he can make enough 3/3s to kill the Gurmag Angler.
I see.
And get an extra turn to try to find a way to deal with the Stormbound Geist.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's not winning on the next turn, but
yeah,
he's giving himself an additional 2 turns to try to find a way to stabilize the board. I mean, I think step 1 is going to 3 life so that you have the extra turn. And then step 2 is trying to chain enough artifacts that you can make 2 3/3 golems to double block the Gurmag Angler. And then you just have to deal with the 2/1 in the sky, and you've got 2 draw steps to do that.
Still really tough since you have to deal with it twice.
Oh yeah, no, it's incredibly tough, and Wes is definitely in a losing position that game.
We were so impressed in the first couple turns, and then we kind of were like, okay.
Well, we see the power of Burning Prophet in this deck. I mean, without it, you know, Wes drew a ton of cards. It just happened to be that like 9 of them were lands.
Yeah.
You know?
When they weren't lands, they were cards that drew cards that would be lands.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't make any sense, I don't think.
No, it made sense. He drew not land cards that drew cards that were lands.
Exactly. Okay, so this one is... You just got to win this game, and you're in the finals.
Yeah, this is game 3. This is to see who will be playing against Jacob in the finals. Will it be Wes Singleton on his blue-red eggs, or John Buchanan, and we have a blue-black Delver mirror? What do you think? I have a hard time not betting on blue-black Delver.
I do too.
This deck is just so powerful. It just has ways to answer everything you do. It presents a huge clock. With Gurmag Angler, it's just hard to bet against this deck.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Even on a deck that has bounce spells, has Relic of Progenitus, has a way, like the Golden Foundry, to like, it's an I win card if it resolves.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things,
but
still
I mean,
aren't better than
we saw
cheaper
the
spells,
way,
and
we saw the way that worked out. He had 2 relics in play and the Golden Foundry, but the blue-black Delver deck, because it had so many good answers, it forced Wes to put himself in this awkward position where he had to save his Golden Foundry until he could be confident he could resolve it, at which point he was just out of gas.
Yeah. And then him saving it just means the other player gets to set up and set up and set up. And like, even with all of the thought casts that West got to resolve, that was the end result of like
Mhm.
being drowned in card advantage.
Yeah. And I mean, and then always at the end of the day, you just have to sometimes just be worried about foil.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they just have foil, and it does not matter at all.
In the end, it's really go back over.
Yeah. Looks like the camera froze.
No, I think they're just holding very still.
Okay. West doing his best Drax impersonation.
He was invisible for.
He was invisible for a second. I couldn't see him.
Golem Foundry.
All right, so we're going to start this game with West at 2 and John at 16. Who do you think can win in this spot?
West.
You think it's easier for West to deal 16 damage in the time John can deal 2?
Oh, no, actually, both of them can win.
I guess. Turn 2. Right, I guess like turn 1 Delver would have been optimal. It would put West on a 2-turn clock.
I think we're going to get about 1 damage into this, and things will be fixed.
I'm going to tell them. All right, we're sending a message to the front to tell the judge to fix the life totals for us.
So bossy.
Yeah, so bossy. All right, Terrarian is what West drew. Let's see if that's the play. Nope, Burning Prophets.
This seems like a good card.
Yeah. Snuff Out is the only real answer to this card, though.
There we go. Oh, you were wrong.
What? Oh, Soul Reap. I forgot about the Soul Reap. Okay, Terrarian is the play for West. Following it up with a star.
And that's a missed land drop for West.
Yeah.
It does mean there's action in his hand.
There is a Golem Foundry in his hand. If he would have been able to find that land, resolving that Golem Foundry here would have been huge.
Definitely huge, yeah. Finds a Preordain off of an Augur Bolas. Plays the Preordain immediately. You tap him down to 0 mana.
Okay, so I mean, West has a window here too if he finds a land on the top. And he's going to have, or no, the Terrarian gets him to 3 mana, right?
It doesn't generate any mana.
Oh, you're right, yeah. So what he can do is he can sack it, still have 2 mana, get a redraw, put one of those mana into the star to get another draw.
There it is.
All right, there's Golem Foundry. We have a game.
Oh, is this a Desperation Gush, or is this, I have the foil already?
This might be I have the foil. I don't know. You gotta always feel like when they're gushing, they've got it. But it looks like he's got it and he's deciding what he's discarding. Or he's just slow rolling. No, he's got it.
Do you see it?
I mean, he has to. He's pulling 3 cards off at the top of his hand. He's just deciding what to discard. Yeah, see? There you go.
Okay. Because it's a general rule. You just don't do the gush thing unless you have the foil already.
Yeah. I think, though, in this case, Golem Foundry is such a problem card to beat
Yeah.
that you Desperation Gush there regardless of if you have it or not. I think that you do. That card's so difficult for John to beat. It's worth going down to the 1 swamp to try and counter it. Because, like, I don't think the difference between you being on 4 mana this turn and 2 mana this turn is even relevant when your opponent has the Golem Foundry.
So he just did the trick. He had 4 artifacts in play.
Oh, he did the Thoughtcast trick.
Yeah, the Thoughtcast trick. Basically played Ancestral Recall at sorcery speed. That's
All right,
pretty sweet.
Burning Prophet. See if John has an answer, and he does. The Pyroblast.
Okay, so I have to think that West has got to be running a little bit lower on
There's a Terrarian.
threats.
I think he is. I know that he's got at least another Sphere effect in his hand.
I know that he does have more draw spells, but I think that John is going to have some room here to set up his hand again.
Yeah.
I hurt my elbow. I don't like this being here.
Sean knocked his funny bone into the cup holder. Okay, so sacrifice the Terrarian, filter those 2 colorless lands into some colored mana. Gets a redraw.
Is that an annul?
There's a chromatic sphere. Filter the mana, draw a card.
Thoughtcast.
There's a Thoughtcast. We found another Burning Prophet. See if this one resolves. It looks like I see another Hydroblast.
That's definitely a Hydroblast. That's definitely what you want to do.
Yeah, things just have not worked out for West this game. John had just all the answers. All of his answers just lined up perfectly with West's game plan. And that's just sort of the power of this blue-black deck.
Yeah, every time.
It just has all the most efficient answers in the format.
And he's just looking for a way to play a 1-mana 5/5 at this point. He just needs to put it in his hand. There's nothing stopping him.
Yeah, it looks like West has a couple Pyrite Spellbombs and another Chromatic Star in his hand.
And this brainstorm, I think, is going to be huge. Regardless if he gets to shuffle, it probably finds, maybe some land, finds some action spells. I really don't think it matters. Okay, so it does find a tap land with an Evolving Wilds.
So he's going to get a shuffle. Still no action, though, so... I mean, West is getting a lot of time to set things up here. Found another star.
So...
He's just digging. It looks like an Aether Spellbomb.
Yep. Still no blue mana. He has to filter everything into blue to do anything right now.
Yeah.
So he has to be thinking about, okay, do I want to keep cracking these star effects since I have this Aether Spellbomb?
Right. John sacrifices his Evolving Wilds, finds another snow-covered island.
Pyrite Spellbomb not looking amazing here. It always can do the redraw thing, but it is just sitting there.
I mean, I guess like at one point, before West sacrificed his first Spellbomb, he had 3 Spellbombs, 2 in his hand, 1 in play. That answers Grandma Gangler.
A 3-for-1? What is this, foil?
Yeah, well now you're just on par with the Delver player that foiled you earlier.
Yeah, except theirs didn't cost 6 mana.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not doing anything with your mana anyway, you're just not wasting 6 mana.
And he does have to crack a star to even get that 3rd red mana.
Oof. Yeah, things just have not worked out for West here in this game number 3. Blue-Black Delver firing on all cylinders right now. I love how John's like building a wall around his deck with his graveyard.
You think it's going to go off to the right when it hits the bottom?
Yeah, it probably is.
He's just like, well, this feels like I'm winning. I'm doing a damage a turn.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things going on than that. He's not thinking that at all.
Yeah. I mean, the problem here is, like, it feels like West is getting a ton of time, right, to try to set something up. The issue is that West just doesn't have a lot of cards that matter. He's got a lot of eggs. He's got a lot of things that just like draw him into, like you said, more eggs or more lands. I don't think he has more threats than John has answers. And John taking all this time too just means that John is sculpting a hand where he can answer everything that West has to present.
You may never know where that graveyard was going to go, because here comes another zombie fish.
Well, we do. It went into the battlefield.
Oh,
it's in the red zone.
I meant like in building a wall around his deck.
I have a feeling that it would have made a right turn and started going down below the lands, but now instead it's just going to encroach on the red zone.
So there's a blue mana. He can pretty safely go for an Aether Spellbomb. Probably cracks for a blue here. There's a Galvanic Blast. So he can pressure this Angler with Galvanic Blast. And then
he has
one for one.
He has a few ways to deal with it, yeah.
Get your fish.
I'm curious if you think you might lead with the Aether Spellbomb to eat a counterspell, if it's there. Because you'd rather Galvanic Blast here than
weirdly enough,
Spellbomb?
In my head, without thinking about it really hard, I thought about it the other way.
Really?
Like, I just want to Aether Spellbomb, and then...
See, I'd rather Galvanic Blast because it deals with the Gurmag Angler permanently, whereas Spellbomb just means it's coming down the next turn because John has enough cards in his graveyard.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I feel like it's not going to matter because, yeah, Counterspell was there. A Counterspell was there.
Dispel.
Which spell?
Counterspell.
No, it wasn't a Counterspell. It was a Dispel.
Which?
Dispel. You said it wrong. You have to say which spell.
What one?
You're fired. Look at that!
There it is! That's lethal!
This fish is going down.
I really hope that doesn't happen. I hope there's like a Galvanic Blast or something to like...
Oh, I want to see the bombs go off.
I mean, that would be highly entertaining, but it would just be a death sentence to go down that many cards.
Sure, but I mean, what's more important here? West's well-being or the entertainment of the viewers?
There's also a Mirror Enforcer in his hand.
Oh, and there's Stormbound Geist. Pop in one, draw a card.
Okay, so they're going for cards. Pop in another. Uses the blue for Thoughtcast.
There's a Galvanic Blast.
Okay, that's what he wants to do. And he's got a pretty full grip again.
But again, it doesn't look like he has anything really relevant.
No.
It's just a lot of... I mean, I think the Mirror Enforcer is really the only relevant card besides the Galvanic Blast. Everything else is just redraws. There's the Aether Spellbomb, and then I think 2 other Sphere effects.
There's
and
an
Annul hits that, which I think we knew about the Annul from earlier.
So I think he's going for the Aether Spellbomb right now. Yep. He does have another Galvanic Blast in his hand.
I'm curious. I think at this point you do just go for the Galvanic Blast. I'd rather just get rid of this Gurmag Angler, and then you can bounce the Stormbound guys with the Aether Spellbomb.
The Terrarian is supposed to be tapped. Don't think it really matters. I'm pretty confident it won't matter, but I don't know why I said it then. So blue, go for an Ash Barrens. Don't. He's going to type it.
Just send a quick message to the floor judge and maybe he can fix it before it does become relevant. Because West could sacrifice it this turn to filter mana into his
Blue
spell
and
bomb.
red.
Yeah, so I mean, it could be relevant this turn that
Put
he
his
gets
blue and
his
red mana.
he gets his redraw.
I guess
don't know.
the redraw could be.
Yeah, he'd get his redraw a little sooner than he should. I don't know. Just upholding the integrity of the game.
I'm gonna kick you into the Hall of Fame.
Joke's on you. I could never get into the Hall of Fame. Also, I'm not a cheater.
So either Spellbomb taking care of.
Yeah, okay, so at this point, it didn't even matter. So I'm going to now send a message to the floor judge to disregard that so that he doesn't walk over there and try to make West tap a Terrarian that should be untapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yay for integrity.
There's another zombie fish. Well, same one, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. There's all 4 Darksteel Citadels.
Okay, sacrificing the Terrarian. And he found a Relic of Progenitus, but a little too late for that.
Yeah, that is awkward. We need another Aether Spellbomb to make that relevant. This is the thing with Eggs decks.
And see, that's why I think I really would have liked Spellbomb plus Galvanic Blast on Gurmag Angler, and then using Aether Spellbomb to bounce the Stormbound Geist. Just to give you a few extra draw steps to try to find a way out of this. I mean, unless he's just got an answer for the Stormbound Geist.
The Relic.
Oh, duh. Herpaderp.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah, there we go.
There's another Aether Spellbomb.
Okay. Yeah, alright. It's all coming up for West right now. He sees the lines.
Aether
All right,
Spellbomb.
so I imagine that the Chromatics are filtered blue. So now he's got a blue mana floating from his Chromatic Sphere that bounces the Gurmag Angler. Okay, cool.
What just happened?
He bounced the Gurmag Angler with Aether Spellbomb.
I didn't think the mana worked out, but...
He had a blue mana floating from Chromatic Sphere.
Oh, he did?
He paid the red from the Great Furnace to cast the Spellbomb.
Oh.
And then he used his Seed of the
Floating.
Synod. No, he used Seed of the Synod to cast a spell, and the floating blue to crack Spellbomb.
Okay. And he's at 3?
Ugh, Gurmag Angler. Alright, this is it.
So this is why I'm not always... I'm when people are suggesting playing Aether Spellbombs in decks, I'm not that excited, because it's throwing away cards to buy time against this deck, and they will inevitably be playing that Angler again, and just be up on cards.
Yeah.
Like, they can just choose not to care and fight a battle later.
But, like, what else do you do?
Obviously, you just lose like everyone else to the Blue-Black Delver deck.
Right. So you at least play Spellbomb and give yourself a small chance of not losing. So West here actually might be able to 1-for-1 with this Gurmag Angler. He traded the Myr Enforcer for Kasmina's Transmutation effectively, and then allowed his Galvanic Blast to trade for the Gurmag Angler.
And then just there's overwhelming...
But there was just nothing to do about those 2 Augurs, and John Buchanan is your second finalist. So we are going to have 2 Blue-Black Delver decks battling it out in the finals.
Who would have predicted that?
Us.
Exactly us predicted that.
Oh.
It doesn't feel good,
No, it doesn't.
but it feels better than if I would have predicted wrong.
I guess, like, also, to be fair, it's not a hard prediction to make.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
West wants to do a loser's interview. Get in
Okay.
here.
I want to smoke really bad, so that works out wonderfully.
That match.
Yeah. It looked like Blue-Black Delver just did Blue-Black Delver things to you.
It just didn't let me keep a threat in the last
Right.
2 games of the match.
And that's something that I was saying with Sean is we were talking about how John was giving you all of this time and how that you would think that might favor you to set something up.
No.
but
I need to like resolve a few key spells in the first 3 turns.
It just
of the
means
game.
that John has more time to sculpt the hand of just perfect answers.
Yeah.
He has way more answers in his deck than you do threats.
Yeah. Definitely. The real edge I ever get is if I can stick a Golem Foundry.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never ever drew any counter magic to defend a Golem Foundry.
And in that game too, we saw you resolve the Golem Foundry, but you
It was
had
too
to.
little. It was
Yeah,
a
you
dollar
had to.
late, or day late dollar short.
Yeah, you had to set it up so that you could resolve it because he always had mana up.
Mhm.
And so the turn when you were able to go Myr Enforcer plus
Burning
Profit and then resolve Golem Foundry, by that time you were just out of gas.
Yeah, absolutely. But I did wait those turns because I knew I needed to.
You knew that this was the card
yeah.
that could win you
It's
this
possible
game.
that I was supposed to like wait until I had more gas to go off because I wasn't under much pressure at that time.
I think it's just safe to just get it into play when you can get it
Yeah,
into play.
yeah, and
then,
I perceived that unless he had a foil, and I think he did have the foil.
Yeah, and I just hope you draw something.
Yeah.
Just like chain some bombs into each other so you can start.
Yeah, I
making golems.
definitely needed to not draw as many lands as I did, and I drew definitely an average number of lands because those games went really long.
Yeah, and that's the hard part about not having the burning profit is you
My
have
draws are
so
much
many
worse.
you have so many redraws that are
Mhm.
just redraw into redraw that eventually you're just gonna find lands.
It just gets you flooded, absolutely. Which is, I mean, it's really quite sweet. The play of the last game that I thought was like really fun, and I was hoping to do it a turn sooner, which is why I threw away all of those Pirate Spellbombs, was I knew that with Gurmag Angler and Stormgeist,
Yeah.
my only way to answer both of those in the same thing was with a relic off the top, and so I was just digging for that to set up the play where I
Yeah. And see, I was missing the relic, and so I was thinking about like Pirate Spellbomb plus Galvanic Blast, take care of the Gurmag Angler, and then Aether Spellbomb to bounce the Stormgeist since
Mhm.
it's 3 mana to recast it. And so that was what my thinking was, and so I was kind of questioning that play there, and then you just drew the relic off the top, and I just ate all my words.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the player's advantage is I know the cards in my deck.
yeah. Well, so do I.
But you have to know that I put them in and draw them.
That's
and,
fair.
all those things.
That's
yeah,
reasonable.
I feel really sad that I like never drew a dispel that mattered.
Yeah, you just never your answers just never lined up at the right time, and
And then they're really bad when I'm out of gas.
oh yeah,
Right? Like I don't want to draw dispel in a situation where I've got nothing going on, and I
because
cast.
the cards you're dispelling are not proactive.
Yeah.
You want your dispels to proactively protect your creatures,
Yeah.
not stop what he's doing.
Totally. Yeah, if I'm like dispelling a gush, which I think I did in game 2, it felt bad.
Yeah.
It was like, sure, you're putting your lands in your hand, and it feels good that I got this tempo advantage, but I've got nothing to do with this tempo advantage.
Yeah.
It was, and like my card advantage wasn't even enough, because like I played 4 Thoughtcasts in game 3.
Sure.
And 1 mana every time, which is, 4 extra cards, and that just doesn't even come close to what he gets off of Augur or Bolas's alone.
I don't know. I think
I
they're on us now.
okay.
I don't know.
That doesn't look like they're ready to play games yet.
No, it doesn't. I just wanted to. I'm gonna exit studio mode because I don't know. Okay. Yeah. So
Anything?
they were on us the whole time, but
It was a really fun tournament. I would love to do it again. I was absolutely adamant that I was going to get the trophy to everyone I ever talked to about this, and I feel bad that I eat my words, but
Yeah,
I
well-
feel justified.
Blue Black Delver does that.
Blue Black Delver is terrifying, and if I were to run back this deck in a Blue Black Delver metagame, I would really have to think long and hard about what really breaks that open. And the answer is probably not counter magic. I need to go about a more proactive way. It needs to be bringing threats in.
Yeah, and we saw that one of your most efficient answers, Aether Spellbomb, isn't really much of an answer either.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, it was great, like, in the situations where my opponent, like, then couldn't replay a Gurmag Angler, but that's just a temporary answer, and I'm not closing the game fast enough.
Sure.
And now it's possible with the way that game drew out that I was supposed to bring in, and the way I knew the games were going to draw out is like I'm supposed to ignore Relic of Progenitus, and not exile my own graveyard, and keep in my Scrapyard Salvos for my sideboard.
Okay.
And if I do that, then theoretically we can get to this point where we played this really long game. I've ran him out of counter spells, where I have a really good bet that he's out of counter spells, and I can put it all into this one big attempt,
penultimate spell. Yeah.
and maybe burn him for 16 and then do a Galvanic Blast or something.
Sure.
But even that is a long shot. The
Yeah.
deck's just really solid. I cannot wait for Gush to get banned in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm super excited to break my Muldrifters out again.
Yeah, if that happens, that card's coming back in so fast.
I'm going to play so much Blue-Black Alchemy.
I have to go back to the fair draw 2. Or actually, I guess I've always been on the fair draw 2 with Thoughtcast. But
Sure.
Gush definitely makes it look
Yeah,
good.
1 mana draw 2 is fair compared to Gush.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you for casting
Congratulations
this tournament.
on your run.
Yeah.
What did you win?
$75.
$75.
Store
Cool.
credit.
That's
Yeah.
not bad.
No,
And
not
then
bad at all.
First place is playing for $250, right?
No. So 150 to the winner, 100 to second place.
Okay, so $250 for the
I
first.
certainly know Jacob knew that he was getting top 2 for $125, so we'll see what they agreed to.
Okay.
All
All right. Well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, and may Blue Black Delver take home a trophy.
All right. Well, we're going to be right back while they set up the finals, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with the finals of the Oasis Games Invitational. Be right back. Okay, we're back, and the players are just shuffling up, getting ready for the final match here. $50 on the line.
Yeah, both of them have secured, I believe, $100.
Yeah, unless they just decide to split and then play for the trophy, because there is a trophy.
I think it's on the table right now.
Is it? There it is. There's the trophy in all of its glory and magnificence.
You know what the trophy says?
It says, "You are the monarch."
You are the monarch, and then
It says, "First place, Pauper Invitational, you are the monarch."
and then they're gonna put the name on it of whoever wins.
Sweet. All right, so we're playing for some money. We're playing for some hardware.
And I believe they did that because last time a monarch deck won this tournament.
Yes, it was. It was Monarch in the hands of friend of the podcast, Joshua Hubbard. For those of you who don't know what podcast we're talking about, it's Common Knowledge, a Magic the Gathering podcast that is advertised on your screen.
That is true.
I think it's worth listening to.
I like it.
All right, so it looks like the players are just making sure they're de-sideboarded from their last round. Sean's doing some wizardry to try to center this better.
This is hard on a laptop.
Wow, I didn't even know that this was a possibility.
Look at that.
That's much better. Amazing. I wonder if they're just going to keep the trophy in there the entire time.
I wouldn't mind. One of them would be the monarch.
See, it's too bad that neither of them are playing Monarch cards, because they could use the trophy as their Monarch.
Not
emblem.
until they won.
Oh. I would be using the trophy as my Monarch
I
token.
think anybody in that situation would just be like, yeah, let's use it.
All right, well, the judges moved it off to the side, so.
It might be mistaken for like a Delver of Secrets or something in this matchup.
Try to find Jacob's deck list here, but we have a mirror match. John Buchanan and not that Jacob. Where's Jacob's deck list? I've gone through all the deck lists. There it is, Jacob Hansen. Let's just gone over it. All right, so we got Jacob Hansen, and John Buchanan, both on Blue Black Delvers.
I think John's list is closer to the stock list, but they've switched out Stormbound Geists for Kazmina's transmutation, and then the other player,
Jacob, has just a few more. He has the extra copy of Stormbound Geist, which is really good here.
Yeah, so he has 2 copies.
Instead of the 1 or 0 that most lists play. And he's got the extra Disfigure, which is just a fine answer against the Delvers.
Yeah, and both of them... I think the player with Stormbound Geist has like less counterspells. I think that is a very important card in this matchup.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think they're mulliganing, and I really want to get into this.
All right. Terramorphic Expanse to start things off for John. There it is. Island Delver.
Fetch, and is this a Turn 1 days, maybe?
Nope. Looks like just an island.
Well, that's what you have to do first.
You right though.
No, he grabbed an island. He couldn't.
No, what I mean, it looks like he's just getting an island.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Anything could happen.
We don't know what's happening. Shuffling. Magic the shuffling is happening.
Suspense.
But then you've always got to be worried that, like, what if they dates back? But then you've got an island in hand, so you can foil. But then they have an island in hand, so they could foil. And then when the dust settles, no one has any permanence except for the Delver.
Nobody dazed.
Oof, nothing happened. All right.
A lot of hubbub about nothing.
Both players doing their best Drax impersonation there for a minute.
Holding very still. There is a daze!
Wow, Preordain gets dazed.
And is this a swamp follow-up?
And no flip on the Delver of Secrets.
1 year.
1 year. Okay.
Oh no.
There's Preordain. Going to set up this Delver nicely.
Player on the right is a 19. Second land is an island. Yeah, they wrote it down. They're just not using
The score pad.
the score pad. We're just hoping that we can get them to start using that. So he goes down to 17 to play Gataxian Probe.
There we go. Jacob's got it for us.
Thanks, Mian. So
Stormbound guys, counterspell, foil, augur, augur.
So these augurs are pretty much the only thing. I guess counterspell he can play. Probably gonna see the augurs first though.
Yeah. I imagine that that's what he wants to have happen. I think that Jacob went top-bottom with his Preordain.
It is kind of weird because he wants lands, but he also wants to flip this Delver.
Right. Well, he drew the card that he scribed at the top.
Oh yeah, if he went top
So
bottom.
it doesn't. We have no idea what's on the top of the library. We know that what he scribed at the top was not a land, though. So I'm curious if the card that he found was, like the Stormbound Geist. I imagine that he wouldn't want to draw a foil.
Just curious if you know, where will Oasis post results and or top deck lists?
We could probably post that on. I think we said we were going to post those things to the Common Knowledge Facebook page.
Yeah.
Another place we could probably just post them up on our Patreon page.
And when this is put in YouTube, I think we're going to make sure to have.
Oh yeah, when it's posted to YouTube, we'll have deck lists of the games.
But nothing up right now.
Okay, so the Delver flipped and he found a land. Okay, so it looks like he flipped off Gataxian Probe and he probed himself into the third land.
Neat.
And John is looking at a Preordain, a Daze, Kasmina's Transmutation, Counterspell, Gush, and Brainstorm. But no double blue.
Yeah, both of these players looks like they were a little bit choked on land. And it looks like...
Yeah, it looks like Jacob found his land just in time, and John's still a little choked because he's going to have to spend his next turn cantripping to try to find another land. I mean, it's not the worst because he can brainstorm into a land and then cast Augur of Bolas to help clear the top of his library. It looks like he drew another Daze, though. And these Dazes are actually nice because Stormbound Geist resolving is a really big deal. That's something that I wouldn't be worried about double dazing.
Okay, yeah.
If I had to. It's not ideal in this situation when you're looking down a flipped Insectile Aberration, but it's better than having to deal with both.
And of course,
also, Jacob could just not draw a fourth land here.
That's true.
And now he's got to try to play through these Dazes.
Going for, I think he was thinking about another Augur.
Yeah, it looked like he was thinking about it, now deciding if maybe he wants to try to cantrip for the third land.
That does seem like a solid play to me.
Yeah, I think that you're behind enough on this board that you need to start making the riskier plays to try to get ahead. So, digging for that land, and then resolving, and there you go. He got paid off for it. So he took the high risk, high reward play, and he got rewarded for it, which I think is what you need to do when you're as far behind as he is. Oh, there you go.
Delver loses flying and becomes a 1/1.
Nice. Yeah, so I think that stabilized this board pretty well.
Yeah, he can't really attack with either of his creatures. There's no point in attacking with the Augur, and if he attacks the 1/1 to get it 1 damage through with the Augur, the 1/1's just gone. It's not very high value, but that's going to block a Gurmag Angler at some point in the game.
Yeah.
Just hiding it under that enchantment.
Yeah, he's just got a little frog. I think Jacob has another Augur of Bolas. Yep, and that's the play. Gonna look at 3 cards. Last time he was on camera, we saw Jacob whiff on his Augur. So far, he's not been that unlucky.
That's not a whiff.
No, sir.
That is a gush.
That is a good gush.
1. Oh, reveal my foil.
Float 1, cast gush. Now we can play around Daze.
It's just like, what you gonna do about it? You know about it. Nothing. You can't do anything. So he's floating 1. So if he
see, those were the mind games. Jacob actually intended to reveal that foil there to put the fear into John.
We really needed those 2 cards. I love it. So still floating 1 and has 1 available to him.
What? Who?
Was I wrong?
Yeah, Jacob passed the turn.
Oh, just now? Okay.
Yeah, like he cast the gush, played the island, passed the turn.
I think I just spaced out for a second.
It all happened so fast. So it looks like float 2 and a gush of his own for John.
Looks like it's just that phase in the game where you start casting gushes.
Now, Jacob does have foil. And he's going to foil.
And there's no dazes that can happen here.
Well, there's 1 daze that can happen here.
He doesn't have any islands in play. Oh,
he has 2
yeah,
mana
he's
floating.
2 mana.
So he could daze.
I forgot I had that mode.
I mean, he's not going to daze because Jacob has an island to pay for it, but
yeah,
there could have been a daze.
deep in the tank, it looks like.
Okay, he's going to brainstorm with one of those floating mana.
There's a pile of cards in his hand.
Yeah, and I mean, even though that Gush didn't resolve, he still got 2 extra cards out of Jacob's hand.
Hmm.
You know, he still got that 3 for 1. And now he's going to be able to make a land drop and have a bit of mana to work with this turn.
So he can cast Grimlock Angler. It would get foiled, but
Would it? Does Jacob have another foil?
oh, did he foil already?
Yeah, he foiled the
Oh.
Gush.
I think I'm running out of energy, dude.
Yeah, Sean's tank is running on E. And so John elects not to play around Days to conserve cards in its graveyard for future Gurmag Anglers.
And that lands.
Yep. And it looks like a Gurmag Angler of his own for Jacob.
That one didn't have so much deliberation, or it wasn't so tight. Of not like it wasn't a tight play. It was just like
Right, no,
the other one was like, do I have the mana? Is this safe?
yeah, and I think Jacob's got Counterspell in his hand. So he's got Counterspell and Daze backing up his board. Oh, you know what? I think John did play around Daze last turn because he had the other floating mana. No, he used it. He exiled 4 cards. So yeah, he didn't play around Daze at all, electing to try to keep fuel in his graveyard for future Gurmag Anglers.
So in this matchup, my experience has been the best removal spell for a Gurmag Angler, or maybe usually the only available removal spell is your own Gurmag Angler,
Mm-hmm.
and that's looking like what's going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, there are answers in both of their decks, I believe, for this, but in like Curse of Chains.
Looks like Jacob has another Gush. We can protect this one with a Counterspell. John's also got multiple Counterspells in his hand. And I think he still has the 2 Dazes. So he could double Daze here.
That is pretty steep. Going down to 0 lands in play.
Well, he'd go down to a Swamp.
Okay, 1.
Right? But Jacob's also down to just a Swamp.
And then still 2 for 1 yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think those Dazes are going to get any value anyway, so you might as well just cash them in when you can.
Yeah.
So like is like spending 2 Dazes that are just going to get incrementally worse as the game goes worth being behind cards when they resolve their Gush anyway? Like you're up 2 Dazes, but they're also up 2 cards, and your Dazes are probably not going to do anything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So it's definitely a respectable, definitely a respectable play, and like those Dazes tend to just get worse.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a chance to just fire them off, do that.
I guess like also I don't know, because when you Gush, like you go down mana, so it means your Dazes are better. Now that both those Dazes are out of the hand, Jacob's just had a Stormbound Geist in his hand like the entire game. I mean, unless he brainstormed it away at one point, he could be safe to resolve Stormbound Geist. So I think that's what Jacob's hand is right now, Island Stormbound Geist. So I don't know, tough spot, especially So I think John knew about the Stormbound Geist from Gitaxian Pro. But yeah, I think either way it's close. You're either down cards because they drew cards off their gush, or like you give them a window to resolve Stormbound Geist.
So this is just looking at exile and graveyard for usually like the number of counter spells of each type that have been used.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these players don't have access to deck lists, so just because we see the one counterspell in Jacob's deck in the graveyard, John doesn't necessarily know that that's the only counterspell. I mean, he could. These players have been playing with each other, in the room with each other all night. It's very possible they have a lot of information, but ooh, and there's the second Gurmag Angler for John. And he's gonna get in. Yep, and chump block. Which seems fine. Trade 1 for 1, Delver for Kesmia's rotation, and save yourself 5 life.
That does seem pretty good.
And now is a window where Jacob could resolve Stormbound Geist if he has it. Maybe he doesn't have it.
Delver snuff out Ash Barrens is what he drew.
Snuff out not looking good. I feel like those are definitely things you want to shuffle, but at the same time, like keeping Ash Barrens also doesn't feel great. Okay, maybe he didn't have
Stormbound?
Oh no, I think for sure he didn't have Stormbound Geist. Because I think right now his hand is Ash Baron's Delver of Secrets.
Is that a foil? Just threw 3 cards on the table. I assume it is.
That's a foil for the second Gurmag Angler. Yep. And Delver.
That's not bad. You can evade the anglers with your Delver of Secrets.
Yeah.
You have 2 chump blockers and a pretty good life total, and then your angler deals with one of your opponent's anglers.
Yeah, and now Jacob's set up, if the last card in his hand is Ash Barrens, to untap, reveal Snuff Out to Delver of Secrets, and then get a shuffle, and get a new redraw.
Oh, that's perfect.
Still not looking great, though, because he still has to find a way to answer this other Gurmag Angler.
I mean, the answer is just those.
And John down to 0 cards in hand, so Jacob is, I think, slightly ahead. Oh, he just draws the Snuff Out. Okay. Maybe it wasn't an Ash Barrens.
Oh. I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe we misinterpreted what the cards were. It's hard to tell, so who knows?
Right now, Delver v. Delver is 0v0.
Yeah, this is game 1.
Oh, no. Wasn't paying attention, but it looks like he just let that angler hit him.
Yeah, he went to 13. Electing to save his augurs for later turns.
That is, I think, a pretty good play, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better to just take the hit when you can take the hit. All right. See if John drew something. Looks like probably a cantrip. Paying the iron price for Gitaxian Probe. Gonna get himself another redraw. It's just incredible how well these decks fill their graveyards. I mean, John's already exiled enough cards to cast 2 Gurmag Anglers.
And he's ready.
And he can cast another one and have cards to spare.
Look, doesn't that look like an Ash Barrens?
Yes, it does. He just played it out.
Yeah, he did.
Playing around days. So, Stormbound Geist. Okay.
Dang.
John is on a 2-turn clock. I think he just has the lands in his hand. Because he probed past the turn after doing nothing, and I think he just drew another land.
Easy block.
Yeah.
Give me my turn back.
All right, so this is going to be an attack for 5, putting John down to 3.
And he just doesn't have a way to interact with this, it looks like.
I think he just has another land in his hand.
Gosh.
Yeah, so that was an Ash Barrens. Choosing not to cycle it, but use it as a way, reinforcement around days. Bit of insurance. Make sure he resolves it. Oh, it was a daze. Okay. Wow, so really heads up play from Jacob. Resolving that Stormbound Geist was so critical. If he didn't have the Ash Barrens there, he would have gotten dazed. Wow, really good stuff from Jacob, who takes game number 1 here in our final match. All right, well, players are going to reach for their sideboards. All right, so looking at the sideboards here, Jacob's got 1 Counterspell, 1 Relic of Progenitus, 1 Curse of Chains, 1 Echoing Decay, 2 Hydroblast, 2 Dispel, 2 Shrivel, 2 Annul, 1 Stormbound Geist, and 2 of Nyxlis's Cruelty. John has 3 Dispel, 2 Annul, 2 Nausea, 1 Soul Reap, 3 Stormbound Geist, 3 Hydroblast, 1 Echoing Decay.
What's the name of the person on the left?
Jacob. Jacob Hansen.
This is for me. Because I'm bad.
We could put their record in, too. Game record.
What? Trying to work me to the bone? John?
Yep.
Doing the second sizing the same.
Yeah.
I think that's close.
All right, cool. So now we got player names.
Yeah. It'd be so much better for me.
All right, so looking at the sideboards, I think that on Jacob's side, the Counterspell comes in, the Relic comes in, the Curse of Chains comes in, and the 2 Dispels come in, along with the 3rd Stormbound Geist and the 2 of Nyxlis's Cruelties. So that's 8 full cards coming in. What do you think is coming out here to make room for 8 cards?
I was putting the record up.
So we've got Counterspell, Relic, Curse of Chains, 2 Dispel, 1 Stormbound Geist, 2 of Nyxlis Cruelty as all good options.
I think Echoing Decay can come out.
Okay, definitely. So he's got 2 of those. Probably the Disfigure?
Snuff out.
Oh yeah, definitely the 3 Snuff
If
Outs.
you're just upgrading your removal package.
Sure. So pull out the 2 Echoing Decay, the Disfigure, the 3 Snuff Outs. That's 6 cards right there. Like maybe the foils are coming out here. I'm sometimes not a fan of having foil in this matchup, especially if you're bringing in more powerful cards that can answer, like in the case of Ob Nyxlis's Cruelty, cards that can just answer Gurmag Angler on a 1-for-1 basis.
Yeah, and they don't have to be in your hand at the time that it's played.
Right.
They can be in your hand afterwards. A lot of the time that's just okay, and there's not enter the battlefield effects on a lot of these creatures.
And the spells are and the dispels are much better at
Which spells?
dispels are much better at playing in counterspell wars than foils are.
Oh yeah.
So I think the foils are probably good to come out. The Echoing Decays, the Snuff Outs, and then maybe the Disfigure. So we'll see.
I do feel like the foils I'm more apt to shave instead of cut entirely.
Just maybe have like 1 to 2.
Yeah, like 1.
Okay, and then on John Buchanan's side, he's got 3 Dispels, 2 Annuls, 2 Nausea, 1 Soul Reap, 3 Stormbound Geist, 3 Hydroblasts, and Echoing Decay.
So it's just 3 Dispels, the 3 Stormbound Geists, and a Soul Reap.
Yeah.
And then he can just go ahead and take out a lot of the same things of Echoing Decay.
The Snuff Outs.
Yeah.
The Echoing Decays. So John actually has a lot less dead removal game 1 than Jacob does. He's only got 2 Snuff Outs, 2 Echoing Decays, no Disfigures.
This has kind of been like the counter spells versus removal kind of matchup here, I feel like.
Yeah.
Shuffle.
Magic the shuffling.
Cutting out this whole thing.
Yeah. This will be much nicer on YouTube when we can cut out our dead air.
Which means I have to watch the whole thing.
Oh yeah, Sean's got his work cut out for him.
Well, I went through my own video, which was 3 hours long. I think I went through it twice, and then a quick run through another time.
That's 9 hours of your life.
And I paused it quite a bit.
That's like 10 hours of your life.
Yeah, when I said I had 20 hours of editing this week, I literally had 20 hours to do. And like, it's like every night at like 9, I'll be like, okay, babe, I'm going to go do the thing. I'll edit for like 3 hours.
That's insanity.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't do the Common Coliseum part anymore. Because I was just like,
yeah,
I'm not doing anything else.
All Sean does is edit.
I love it. And I found out a cool trick that saves me about 10 minutes every time I edit something. Okay.
All right, decks are presented. Just a bit more shuffling to go. Almost there.
Look at how random those cards are.
Almost there. Oh, come on, Jacob.
One more. And another one.
Another one. Yep, gotta give it. Oh, the triple cut. There we go. Cut it once and one for good measure. All right. Hands. Oh, gotta get those smoochy poops off your sleeves. All right, it looks like a keep from both players. Maybe?
Possibly.
Who knows? Something's going on. All right, keep from both players. Island is the play. Preordain.
Stares at his own preordain. Jacob does. See, I can say his name now because it's right there and I'm looking at it. It surprises me how bad I am with names.
I think you spelled it wrong, though. I think it's with a K.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shame on you, Sean.
That's what I don't know.
Unless I just don't read handwriting very well.
Well, now we've spelled it both ways at some point on here, so we're at least up to 50-50.
Yeah, it was right at one point. Doesn't that look like a K?
It does look like a K.
But doesn't that look like an L?
Is his name Jackal? Sorry, Jacob.
It's alright, we all have bad handwriting.
Okay, so we've got a reveal here for... we've got Dispel, Stormbound Geist, Brainstorm, 2...
Obnixilus's Cruelty.
Wait, 2 of those?
Yeah, 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
And then 1 Preordain. And no other land.
So this...
Yeah, Jacob's going to be leaning really hard on his cantrips this game to find his mana.
Yeah.
Which I think is okay when you've got a Brainstorm and a Preordain. You've just got such a powerful hand that you don't really mind using your cantrips to set you up for land. Because you're not really... What else are you looking for? You've got everything in your hand.
That's true.
And he drew a Gitaxian Probe. Perfect. So he gets an extra look.
So he sees how good his Obnixilus's cruelties are going to be. There's no Dazes here to punish him for running a more expensive spell. He's got Stormbound Geist, which it can exile, and Gurmag Angler, which it can deal with 1 for 1.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that really Jacob needs to be worried about is that Gush. Looks like he drew a Relic of Progenitus.
And he's going to go for the
Preordain.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that's totally fine.
Really needs those lands rather than getting that relic out. That relic is not as important as getting those lands.
Yeah, and if he finds another land, he can play the relic next turn, and that's just fine. So it looks like he went top, so...
The only cards I think I'd be topping are land.
I can't see what he drew, but I don't know. I've got to assume it was a land.
I think it's
right?
in the very back of his hand.
I mean, unless it was like another cantrip and the card on top of your library was a land, I think that's fine too.
Oh, that is
because
true.
then next turn you get to double cantrip for your 3rd land.
Here's Delver, and I think we have no answer for that right now.
Okay, so here's a land.
Terramorphic, so now he has a black source. He just needs any untapped land, really.
And there's Relic.
One Brainstorm. Just gonna see if Daze shows up anywhere. Because then he'd have an extra couple of cards in the graveyard instead of a few less cards in the graveyard. I think the relic is resolving.
Yep, looks like it resolved. It's going to exile that Brainstorm. And Delver flipped to Gitaxian Probe.
That's such a nice flip for your Delver, because it gives away 0 information about what is in your hand, gives you even more information, and puts an extra card in the graveyard.
Yeah, and it just completely clears the top of your library now, so... Almost a perfect Brainstorm?
Oh, there's another one.
What? This is the one he just drew.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, then he played one last turn.
I think, yeah. Yeah, he's already played, not last turn, but he played a Brainstorm a couple turns ago. His play last turn was the Brainstorm that's now in exile.
That's why it confused me, is because it was on top, and I was like, but he just played a card, so that must have been the last thing he played. Okay. Robert needs sleep badly.
Evolving Wilds.
Stands up.
He's just going to go ahead and do it now. Basic Swamp, coming into play tapped. It does look like Jacob has the third land.
Not at this point, no. I think John is just hoping that he doesn't get it, and
Yeah.
he can just ride this into tying it up again. Two. It's just an auger. Looks like there's a decision here at least, so not a whiff.
Picks up a soul reap. That's pretty good.
His opponent's not really on that game plan right now, so it'll be useful later if an angler comes down.
Yeah, not doing a whole lot right now, but it's good insurance to just have. You know, one of the ways that this game falls apart is if Jacob's able to find a threat that John can't answer, because Jacob's already got all the answers lined up for John's threats. So having a bit of insurance for if Jacob does find something is pretty nice.
So there's the land. 3, it's just not this turn.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna
And Jacob does have a brainstorm. So I'm curious if he's got a preordain at the top. So I'm curious if we want to preordain first and then brainstorm.
That's the typical order.
Yeah, when you've got a... no, he's going to crack the relic. Which I think is fine.
It doesn't look like he's looking for anything specific.
I think he was just trying to keep him off of Gurmag Angler this turn. Because even if he taps the relic to exile one card, if John has a 4th land or an Evolving Wilds, he can cast Gurmag Angler that turn.
Right. And if he plans on playing some of his own cantrips, then that works out. If he's going to brainstorm and fetch here, then he has
because
those extra 2 cards.
In this situation, a cantrip is effectively a Lotus Petal that draws you a card.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, I like that there. He's still got a mana up for this brainstorm.
Is it John in the tank?
Yep. We're in John's main phase here.
If that Stormbound Geist resolves for Jacob, it kind of just deals with this also just cleanly. Okay, Dispel for that Gush, just right away. Dispel for the Dispel. And cards go into his hand.
So still 1 mana floating. So that means John can potentially resolve Stormbound Geist this turn as well.
There it is. Fetch. And that's...
So now Jacob's in a tight spot where he either needs to decide if this is the window where he resolves up Nyxla's Cruelty or his own Stormbound Geist. I personally think you resolve the Stormbound Geist first.
It prevents more damage because you throw it in front of the Delver first.
It does give you largest window of opportunity to try to draw yourself out of this. No.
Goes
Okay,
for the
cruelty.
I'm trying to think through that. Is Up Nicholas's cruelty an instant?
I don't know. I think it's a sorcery potentially, but
I was just thinking, like, if it was an instant, then playing it while he's tapped out so that a Dispel doesn't deal with any of your spells might be a really good reason to do that.
okay, sure.
But-
Play around Dispel.
Looks like he just played another Stormbound Geist.
Alright, so there's another land.
Daze backup is what that is.
We do know that there's another Obnixilis Cruelty, but I don't think he can take 4 more damage. There's a Curse of Chains in hand also.
Curse on that. Okay.
I think he's just got a bunch of Preordains in his hand now. Yeah, I think that he might have shuffled away his Stormbound Geist. I don't know that I saw it in his hand. Oh, he just drew one. So he definitely has one now.
That's a Dispel, I believe, on
Yeah.
top that he's leaving there.
And we're thinking about. Yeah, so he actually goes top for both.
So Island.
So he drew the Dispel, left the island on top.
Okay. And then he's just taking 3 here?
Yeah, just the 3. And then he has the answer to this other Stormbound Geist with Counterspell backup, Counter Magic to back it up.
There's just a quick attack.
How much damage does Quick Attack do? I think it's usually just 10.
A little bit less than Tackle.
Less than Tackle? I thought it did more than Tackle. Because Tackle is like the move your Pokemon knows immediately. And then you learn Quick Attack.
Quick Attack is like the utility version.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it also just depends on the level of your Pokemon.
Well, of course it does.
Arcanine's Quick Attack definitely deals more damage than Pikachu's Quick Attack.
It's based on your power.
What about your toughness?
No, that's how many quick attacks you can take before you faint.
Brainstorm is the play for Jacob.
Don't change the subject. Haven't even gotten to Agumon yet.
What? What is Agumon? Isn't that a Digimon?
No, it's a different thing that ends with Mon. Yeah, it's a Digimon.
You don't have to be rude. I know you're tired, but... So here comes Augur of Bolus. That's kind of an interesting... Oof. Oh, we totally missed John's turn where he just like
he just vomited.
barfed his hand onto the battlefield. Okay.
Not looking good here. Okay, so I think his out
is that these Delvers don't flip?
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah, he takes 3, goes to 1.
And is this a
Brainstorm with the triggers on the stack, and
Let's
Jacob's just going to scoop it up.
So tied up 1-1.
All right, and here we are going to game number 3 to decide our champion. Who will be the monarch here at the Oasis Games Pauper Invitational?
Oh, I'm getting up for a stretch.
Got the blood break in your brain?
Yeah, we know there's going to be some shuffling happening here.
Magic the shuffling and the resideboarding.
Yeah. One last evaluation. Last game of the night. I don't think either of them are going to take it lightly.
Nope. So, what do you think being on the play means for Jacob going into this third game?
he's going to be able to hit those 3-mana spells that are more important to him a little bit earlier, possibly. Like, I think he had the tools to win that game, just not the time.
Mm-hmm.
And being on the play is going to do that for him.
Okay. His daisies are now better than John's with him being on the play as well.
That's true.
Yeah, as well as like, there's always just the option that the person on the play in this matchup just resolves Delver and flips it immediately.
Yeah.
Which we actually saw Jacob do in game 1. And even though John was able to get ahead with all those Gurmag anglers, Jacob had that time we were talking about because he was able to get in with Delver a couple times early before it was answered. Shuffle up, shuffle up. Almost there. Okay, I apologize to anyone watching the stream. Sean and I are exhausted, and there's only so many things I can think about to talk about while we're waiting for this dead air to pass. But it's okay, because this is all going to get cut out of the YouTube video, so...
What if I just don't? What if I just post it? And then it was just like an hour of us talking about cutting the video.
I don't know if that would be next level or if that would just be...
That would be the worst thing.
The worst thing, yeah. All right, we are looking at our opening sevens here for Jacob and John as they go into game number 3 for the finals.
Oh, he's nice enough to show us his hand.
Which we kind of saw, but I imagine if he's showing us his hand, it's the winner. It's the hand that's going to get him that chicken dinner.
Still Snuff Out in the deck. I believe that's the last card, right?
I can't see it. I didn't see. I know he's got an island at the front. I saw a Brainstorm. I think there was a Delver.
At the very least, it's 7 cards, and he's going to be going against a person playing the 6 cards.
There's a Curse of Chains.
Wake up.
Put a little thing in, check out something on the table you wanted to, and then that thing, self-righteous suicide. That's how that song goes.
Wait, it's not Wednesday yet. It's like an hour and a half.
Oh, it's not Wednesday yet.
You know what I'm referencing?
Yes, I do know what you're referencing.
Very good.
I don't know what that had to do with System of a Down, but...
He just made a noise. I wanted to make a Wednesday my dude's noise.
I thought you were just screaming because the next part of that song, I think, is the guy yelling.
Yeah, both.
I don't know what they say. I haven't listened to System of a Down since I was in high school. I don't have the energy for that kind of stuff.
There's a keep.
All right.
There's a scry. There's a Delver.
All right. Delver of Secrets. Gitaxian Probe. Let's see what Jacob was so excited about.
Snuff Out.
All right, that's a good hand. I mean, he's got his second land. He knows the Brainstorm is going to ensure this Delver of Secrets flips. And then he's going to get to shuffle away the Snuff Out, I guess?
Yeah, that's pretty much that. I wouldn't want the Snuff Out, but... It's an easy card to dump in the graveyard for sure.
See, it's the kind of card that's like... You want to have it when it's going to be good, which is when you need an answer to like a Delver of Secrets, or if you've had to like chump block a Stormbound guys, or like I guess it just kills Stormbound guys if you have your Relic of Progenitus.
Oh, that's true.
But it's also like the card that you just don't want in your opening hand. You want to find it when you need it.
Boom! Like that. That's when you need it.
Right there. Like, I'd say that Delver did its job. It dealt 4 damage and traded with a card.
Yeah, definitely.
And now Jacob just gets to make a better brainstorm because he doesn't have to waste his draw step on one of these cards. You know, he can just get a better brainstorm, shuffle away 2 of the cards.
Yeah.
So overall, like, I definitely don't knock John for making that play. I think that's the best thing your snuff outs could do here is to get those Delvers. You know,
Yeah.
but I think ultimately, like, this exchange had to have favored Jacob just a little bit.
And he did make sure that he played it in his main phase to play around that Dispel.
Which spell? Got him.
I don't know. I think I'm wrong, actually, that, like, I'm so all in on taking out these snuff outs, and
I think
they're just tempo advantage against a Delver of Secrets.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's fine to have a number of them, but I think it's a card that you can shave.
Okay. But Delver of Secrets is one of those cards that you can 2-for-1 with, like, a Stormbound Geist.
Right. Looks like a Brainstorm was the pickup for Jacob. His land number 3 with Swamp, and it looks like he just passes the turn. John just consulting the notes, trying to remember what Jacob's got in hand.
So maybe just be a... Who does have a Stormbound Geist? Okay.
Ooh, Jacob's got the counterspell. Counterspell was not there when John looked at the hand with Gitaxian Probe on turn 1, but multiple draw steps and a brainstorm probably just mean that John just doesn't have any information at all.
1, 2, 3, 4. He could have played an Angler there, I believe. I think it's in his hand and there were enough cards.
But it would have played
But-
into days.
Yeah, I think it's smarter to wait.
He picked up a Dispel
Oh, yeah.
off its Augur Bolus, so
You don't go straight for those things if you don't have to. Or if you don't know it's 100% safe.
yeah. Evolving Wilds for John. This is going to be a Gush.
That's a Gush, and that's a quick Dispel.
So John, in response, going to Daze. This looks like a Daze, maybe?
It does look like it so far.
He's going to fetch that island, return it to his hand for a Daze. And then he gets his land drop plus the 2 mana. So he still has 4 mana available this turn.
It is a Daze. When you play this deck, do you really fight over these Gushes? That seems like the most common card that they've been expending resources over.
I think so.
Oh,
I mean, it sucks when you lose the Counterspell War. But I mean, you get a daze out of their hand. You get cards. Like, yeah, you're still behind cards, but you'd be behind those cards anyway if the Gush resolved. So, I think it's worth trading 1-for-1 with their counterspells for the opportunity to keep them down on cards and tempo, because they lose a lot of tempo when they have to Gush. So, like, this turn, John's going to have access to 4 mana, but the next turn he's only going to have access to 3. And so if you're ever in a position where you can counter the Gush, you're just so far ahead at that point because you've 1-for-1 on cards and you're way ahead on tempo and land. So 1 mana still floating at, I think. No, unless he spent one of the blue mana to cast the Gitaxian Probe to keep himself at 14.
Okay, so now he's left with lots of cards, but only a Swamp and an Augur Bolas in play.
And this looks like a really good spot for Jacob to resolve Gurmag Angler. 2, 4, 5, 6. So he's going to be able to resolve Gurmag Angler and keep Dispel back up. Fish, fish, I got my wish. And John doesn't know about... Oh, he does. John knew about both Dispels. He saw the first Dispel with Gitaxian Probe, and the second Dispel came off Augur Bolas.
Okay.
So John does know that the Dispel is there, which means... Is Soul Reap a sorcery?
Soul Reap is a sorcery.
Okay, so that could be... Yeah, so the one of Soul Reap could be a problem if John's got it, which it looks like he doesn't. It's just going to be a Preordain. Going to take a look at 2 cards. Going to consult the grip first.
Be a good time for him to play his own Gurmag Angler.
Yeah, it would be.
Looks like he's got a keeper there.
He went top. I closed my eyes. I yawned.
I believe so.
All right, are we going to see the wall? Looks like he passed the turn.
The wall? Like around the deck?
Yeah, the Preordains started the wall. I want to see this get to the bottom of the playmat and see where it goes from there.
It's really important.
That's really what I want to see here. That's all I want to know is where the cards go next when they hit the bottom.
I think he's directly trying to counteract what you're looking for because he wants to find an angler as badly as possible.
Right. So the brainstorm... Oh, and that Relic of Progenitus is not going to help me either. Come on, guys. I just want to know. If John wins and we get him in here for our winner's interview, I'm going to ask him where the cards go next.
This looks like...
Oh, that was an end step brainstorm. Neat. So he's got Stormbound Geist, Relic of Progenitus, Snuff Out in hand, I believe.
That's a strong position to be in.
Yeah. Jacob is in a great spot here. Now John is faced with the option of block the Augur, take 5, or chump block the Gurmag Angler. Still take 1, but you're empty board now. And here's the Relic of Progenitus. I'm curious if you just... Oh, he's just going to pop it now. Come on. Now I'm never going to know where those cards are going.
And then exile those cards in his graveyard.
And there's the Soul Reap. No way for Jacob to protect that, so Gurmag Angler goes down.
They did fix the graveyard. That's good.
Delver of Secrets, and that gets immediately snuffed out. Jacob gonna fetch. So Jacob back into Gurmag Angler territory. 3 cards in the graveyard, 5 lands in play.
Yeah.
But he's still got a Stormbound Geist, so. And this is sort of the problem that we see with that Gush can have, is John being so constrained on his mana now, whereas Jacob is just so far ahead, he's able to double spell every turn and pull farther and farther ahead.
G-Probe, and we get to see Daze, Augur,
Island, Gush.
And he, like, another Gush isn't what he wants right now, since he's sitting on 2 islands in hand and 2 on the battlefield.
And for 1. And there's the Stormbound Geist. Curious if Jacob runs out the island in his hand or just holds on to it. I know it's minute, but I think I would have tapped the swamp just to hold up blue.
What did he tap Swamp for? Or what did he tap on?
He tapped 3 islands to cast Stormbound Geist.
Oh.
Whereas I would have tapped Island, Swamp to hold up blue.
I think you're right.
I mean, it's just such a small thing that I don't think it's probably even that relevant. I think that John's in a position where if he has spells, he's just going to run them out and hope it's not there.
Yeah. Two. This is just the Augur. Looks like a decision. More than 1 hit. Insult the hand.
So just like a couple turns ago, this game looked like it was really going in Jacob's favor, and that Obnixilis Cruelty, the Soul Reap just really kind of put it back to almost at parity. The Stormbound Geist is obviously a problem for John. He needs to find a way to take care of this.
That's not easy to take care of either, though.
No, it's not. Looks like a pass.
With 2 blue up.
And at this point, I don't think it matters. You're so far behind on the mana that you're probably not winning any counterspell wars with Jacob, assuming that Jacob has multiple counterspells in hand. He's got the mana to cast them. But I think that Jacob just has a couple of removal spells in his hand.
John definitely has way more cards in hand.
Yeah. I mean, look at the battlefields. Ooh. You know, Jacob has more resources on the battlefield than John.
In terms of lands, yeah.
Which translates into less cards in hand. So,
yeah.
Also, John did resolve the Gush. I don't think Jacob's drawn a Gush yet this game. There's Cruelty. End step, targeting that Stormbound Geist.
Apparently that's an instant.
Yeah, did we think it was a sorcery?
We weren't sure.
Okay. Well, we got our answer. It is an instant, and Stormbound Geist just goes to exile. So Jacob seems to still just be firmly in the driver's seat at this point. So now John is starting to make more land drops again. He's starting to get into a position where he can leverage these cantrips into spells that affect the board. Jacob, with only 2 cards in hand, John can be confident that eventually he's going to run him out of gas. He just needs to find something quick. And by quick, I mean 4 turns.
That's not even that quick.
No, not really.
But he is the one that needs to do something.
Yeah,
I'm
for
trying
sure.
I'm trying to figure out who's favored here.
I think that Jacob is slightly ahead, although John does have a lot of time and a lot of cards in hand to try to make something happen. It really, I think, also just depends on what Jacob's got. Because if Jacob's got cards in hand that are relevant, he can buy himself the time to where John just doesn't have the time to spin his wheels. I think that this looks like a Gurmag Angler.
It does look like
This smells like a Gurmag Angler that plays around days.
that doesn't do it. That's just a good step in the right direction, though, right? I think that
It's a faster clock. Interesting. Brainstorm. So, John must just really want all the spells in his hand to fetch pre-brainstorm. I think he still needs to put 2 cards back. I don't think he put 2 cards back.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, so relevant that Stormbound Geist is untapped, so Jacob doesn't get to go to combat this turn.
But they just tapped it?
Well,
Is that a
because
turn pass?
Well, he passed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why John untapped all his permanents and then tapped the Stormbound Geist.
It's a shame this is on a weeknight where I can't drink copious amounts of caffeine.
So this looks like a Gurmag Angler. Or something, or just a hard cast Gush.
It's a hard cast Gush.
And it gets dispelled.
And another one, and another counter. What about a Delver?
Sure, have your Delver, says Jacob, who attacks for 2. I'll have a Delver of my own. So I think Jacob is out of cards in hand. Taxium Probe, gonna look at nothing, draw a card. So Augur of Bolus.
That's another look. It's not going to really be doing a whole lot for the clock in this game.
Finds a Brainstorm. Does mean the Delver will flip.
I mean, those look like islands in his hand, so he would need to find.
Well, he did gush, so he had 2 islands in his hand from that.
So not a guaranteed flip, just very likely.
Yeah, it means that he's gonna have at least one instant on Instant Sorcery on top of his library and Preordain.
So he found one, and he just
Blew it right away to try to dig. Which, I mean, I think that's fine. Like, he's gotta find something.
So there's your fish.
Because he is under a huge amount of pressure. Is he just conceding? I think he's just conceding. And Jacob's telling him, wait, don't concede yet. Let me see if I even flip my Delver, which I don't.
Throw that back under there. He knows what's on top. No, he doesn't.
No, because he cleared the top with Preordain.
Flips off a daze.
Probably isn't going to be good for anything other than transforming a Delver.
Right.
But
then does he just leave his Delver back to block?
I think you have to leave your Delver back to block, because if Jacob flips Delver, he's dead. I just think you attack with Gurmag Angler and one Augur of Bolus.
Okay.
That way you're not just... Or no, you can just attack with both. I think you can just attack with both here. Get in for 7 and try to get him on the lowest clock you can. Yeah, I think it was safe. Well, I guess no, it probably wasn't safe. I think attacking with 1 is safe, but 2 is not, because if he has a removal spell for Delver, you're dead.
No flip. Oh, no.
Okay, there's an Augur of Bolus.
Oh, this is way close.
Is this full cost for foil? Oh no, Snuff Out. For the Stormbound Geist, okay. Keeps it out of combat for 1 more turn.
Keys.
And then the Augur resolves. Oh, it found Disfigure. I kind of like the Disfigure here.
Which figure?
Disfigure. That takes care of that. Get that Delver of Secrets out. Nope.
No,
Stormbound guys cannot attack.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, and John caught it. All right.
He's like, I want my own kill spell to unlock my Stormbound Geist.
What did he cast Snuff Out on again?
The Stormbound Geist.
Oh, that's right. I'm curious about just Snuff Outing your own Stormbound Geist.
I think he kind of pointed at it like, I could have done this.
Oh, and then you block.
And then I get both sides of your Stormbound Geist.
Right.
And he could have even done it as a combat trick.
Deciding if he wants to attack.
4-4.
Has Mina's Transmutation. So now he's just got a 2-2, a 1-3, and a 1-1.
So it's...
Can Jacob go a 3rd turn without flipping this Delver?
Is it all down to this?
I think it is. Like, if he doesn't flip this Delver here...
It flips!
It's a Snuff Out. And that's enough.
Oh my gosh!
That's enough to get the concession out of John.
But Delver just waited until the very last second
All right.
to show up.
That's it. It's over. Jacob's your champion.
That was quite the finish. That was like as close as you.
That was an exciting game.
It was.
That was an exciting game to watch. A lot of great heads-up play from both players.
That was so cool. Should we go grab them and bring them in here real quick? Or at least ask them?
Yeah, we can go ask him. Okay, we'll be right back with potentially an
Who
interview.
am I looking for?
Jacob. Okay, we're back with our champion, Jacob.
Yeah, woo! Yeah,
Show the hardware. Can you see the words? See if we can see the words. You are the monarch.
Interesting, there wasn't like any monarchs in the top deck either, unlike last time.
No, yeah, monarch won the whole thing.
I have a question. Do you tell your opponent not to concede to you?
I didn't want him to concede there because, like, just because he slightly misplayed on Brainstorm or missed a flip, I'm like, just keep playing. It's not over. We have several draw steps still here.
And he got really close to actually that.
Yeah,
that game came down to the wire.
Yeah, it did. It was super close, and I mean, it was a top decker way or this or that way, so it was super close.
So my favorite play was when you elected not to shuffle your deck with the Ash Barons after you'd brainstorm, and you played the Ash Barons to play around Daze,
Yes.
and Daze was the only card in his hand.
Yeah,
That was really heads up.
I
And
mean, as soon
we
as I
got
s-
excited about it.
As soon as I saw him keeping Daze, and I was like, if I just play around it, it's multiple dead cards in his deck that I'm going to beat.
Yeah.
So
I that was really fun because you played the Ash Barons, and I was like, I guess he's just playing around Daze, just being safe. And then later, the next turn you Gataxian Probe, and he flips and reveals his only card in hand was Daze
Yeah.
at the time.
We were like, he was so sure that I was like, okay, that one of those cards was an Ash Barons, and he was like, no, because he would have done it.
Yeah.
He would have done it right here.
I think he would have used it to shuffle.
yeah, I was like, you just gotta play around not losing, and that's all about here. So
Yeah. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel good. I feel like I played a lot of good Magic. I got lucky, which it's always an important trait. Better be lucky than good. But
Yeah, I think luck is like one of the most important factors in a Magic tournament,
Yeah.
where you can assume that the other players are also playing good.
Yeah.
You just need a little bit of something to push you over the edge.
yeah, I mean, sometimes you just play well, play consistency, and you get rewarded eventually. So
And
Awesome.
You didn't play Blue Black Delver up until this tournament, right? Is that that's what he was saying?
I haven't
I'm not
played
sure.
Black Delver for a minute now.
Okay.
I used to play Mono Blue Delver before that, but since all the blue Japanese cards, but then it's like this deck became the best deck in the format, so I just learned how to play it.
Yeah, that's sort of the boat. I put my Blue Black Delver deck back together in paper.
Yeah.
It's probably the deck that Sean and I are going to be playing for Deck of the Month on the podcast going
Sweet.
forward, because
Well-
we're sick of losing, playing all these other decks for the sake
Yeah.
of science.
Yeah, sometimes it's just good to play Delvers and things line up perfectly and it's easy.
Play Delvers, cast Gushes.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when Gush gets banned?
I'm gonna be very sad, Panda, and figure out what else to play because I really like that card. It's a sweet card.
Moldrifter.
But then I'm like playing Tron, and Tron's
No, play Alchemy.
Alchemy. I
Blue
guess
Black. That's what I'm sleeving up for sure.
it's just so.
I've
slow.
got the deck ready.
I want to win games in like a time limit.
Yeah, like
You
the
had your-
23 turn game you just played.
Yeah, that
Like
game
a
was
split.
that game was not a timely game.
I mean, there are games that
Yeah.
these games that are going to bring your average down, of course.
Yeah. So well, sometimes you get the easy ones. Sometimes you gotta like think it through and get them and get lucky on drawing that extra counterspell.
Right, sure.
There's always familiars.
Familiars, no way.
Oh, well, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me on.
Congratulations
Thank you.
on your win.
Uh-huh.
All right, and that's it. We're signing off from Oasis Games here in Salt Lake City. Goodbye, everybody.